Have you ever felt like you're doing too much for a man who is giving you less than even the bare minimum? Isn't it frustrating when you're investing, when you're giving your time, energy, and attention to someone who the feeling is never ever mutual with? Well, what if I told you that stems from the idea that there are certain things you should never be doing with a man? Which is exactly why on today's show we're going to be discussing everything you should never do for a man. That way, you no longer end up being the one who is left disappointed and emotionally drained. And you can finally have the relationship and love that you've always been searching. So, point number one is about begging. Now, I never want you to do this with any man that you're dating, any man that you start dating, or any man that you've been dating for a while. Let me explain why this can turn out horribly for you. See, let's say you're with a guy, and when you start talking to him, you get accustomed to the frequency at which he'll be talking to you. So he messages you every hour, or maybe in some cases, he's a textaholic and he messages you every 5 minutes. Now, this obviously feels good in the moment, but let's be real, not everything lasts forever. And especially the frequency at which a man will talk to you is not necessarily going to last forever. So then you come to a crossroads where now his timing in which the amount of time he'll take to message you has gone from being 1 hour, which, that works for you, to being maybe 3 hours. And now you're like, 3 hours, I'm not that happy. In fact, I'm a little bit neutral. I would love for it to go back to 1 hour. And then all of a sudden, as time goes on, now he's taking 1 day to respond to you and you're very unhappy, okay? And it only gets worse from there. Now, here's the problem that a lot of you will make a mistake of, right? See, as this process is going along, right, and he's taking more time, to respond. He's being less frequent with the enthusiasm he's showing overall to this relationship. He's asking you out on dates less overall. Now, this is obviously making you feel worse and worse and worse. Nothing wrong with that. You're an emotional being, nothing wrong with feeling things. However, what you then start doing as this more time and the less frequent hangouts and the less frequent asking you out goes on, you start saying, well, if I want to get back to this place, I need to beg, right, for more time. And this is the mistake that a lot of you, I should say, fall into the trap of. Maybe not all of you, but a lot of you fall into the trap of, and I never, ever, ever want you to be begging a man for his time. Let me explain to you why. In the scenario in which you say, okay, I don't like that you're going from 1 hour to message me back to taking like 1 day now and 1.5 days. I want to let you know that I don't like how you haven't been messaging me. And I'm just wondering what's taking you so long to message me back. I'm just wondering what you're doing. We haven't gone on a date in the last 3 weeks. We haven't talked in the last 2 days. We haven't had a real conversation in so long. I wish you would talk to me more. I wish you would text me more. I wish you would ask me out on dates more. I wish we would go out more, right? You're essentially begging for more of his time, begging for more of his attention. Let me tell you the two most important reasons why I never want you to do that. One, you will never get the response that you're looking for whenever you're begging for more of his time and attention. Because as soon as you beg for more of his time and attention, let me tell you, like clockwork, okay? I help hundreds and hundreds of women. They're always the response. Oh, I'm busy, work. Oh, I got school. Oh, class, books, study, feet. I got 9 toes. I don't know what to do. I can't see. I don't have 20/20 vision. Whatever excuse they pull out of the hat, they're going to pull out that excuse. Someone said, I was sick, okay? I wasn't feeling well. My mother this, my brother that, my sister, my cousin, my nephew. Everything they could pull out as an excuse, they're going to pull out as an excuse. Now, the reason that that doesn't matter and the reason that it's a pointless activity is because when he gives you that excuse, 99% of the time, he's going to go back to doing what he was already doing in the first place, okay? So you complaining and begging him for more of his time, more of his attention, he's going to give you the excuse why he wasn't doing that. And then he's going to return back to his state of homeostasis, which is what he was already doing. So if he was taking 1 day to respond to your messages, he's going to continue taking 1 day. Maybe he'll apologize for the fact that he was taking so long. The excuse comes and then the action continues. So you're still unhappy. Or what will happen is as you're begging for more of his time, right? Maybe he makes an adjustment for a day or so. Maybe he makes an adjustment for a couple of hours, but rest assured, after you have a little bit of a conversation, he goes right back to doing what he's been doing. Now, the second reason why I don't want you to do this and why this actually hurts you is because this creates a sense of, oh, you are so important to me that the moment you're no longer in my life as frequently as you once were, all my happiness escaped out the window because you were my happiness and I do need you in my life. And if you're not in my life, I'm very, very sad, very, very bored. My life is very, very uninteresting, okay? Doesn't send the right message to him, doesn't give the right perception of you, and you definitely won't get the right response from him in the end. Because even when you beg for more time, like I said before, his actions are most likely not going to change. The also very important part of this, and I'll give this like a little bit of a third point, is that you have to be able to recognize how frequently does that man want to actually talk to you? How frequently does that man actually want to approach you? See, one of the mistakes and why I really want you to never do this is because as you beg for more time, even in a scenario in which hypothetically he listens to you, hears you out, and wants to spend more time with you, or let's say not wants to, he spends more time with you because he feels bad for the fact that you're begging for more time. You won't get the chance to realize what he would rather do. The problem with this is you're not able to properly, accurately calculate and analyze what is his true level of interest in you. I talk about this a lot on the Players Club. One of your superpowers and one of the things you have to be going into all of your dates, first dates, second dates, third dates, anytime you're dating a man, you have to be gauging what is his level of interest in me. How much do I have to force him to do things in order for him to show up for me and be intentional versus how much does he have an already existing desire within him to show up and be intentional? The more you have to beg for time, the more you have to twist his hands and pull teeth in order to get him to give you some time and attention, the less I want you in that type of relationship. Because as time goes on, you're only going to have to beg for more time, beg for more attention, beg for more frequency. And just like I said before, it's not really going to change. In fact, over time, it's just going to get worse and worse, and he's going to pull more and more away from you. Okay, let's hop into our point number 2. Okay, no begging for you. Okay, you notice he's not giving you time, then you let it go. You let it go. You let him take his 1.5 days, let the 1.5 days turn into 7 days, let the 7 days turn into 2 weeks, and then you never speak to him again, okay? No skin off your back. All right, let's hop into point number 2. Point number 2. Okay, let's do this like this. All right. We'll do a nice visual like this. Hopefully this will tickle your fancy. Is that what the old people say? Tickle your fancy? So we'll have you here and we'll have the man here. Okay. So this is something that can become very dangerous as time goes on. And I will explain why. Okay. So we'll have here point number 2 is about investment. Now, let me explain why I think this can become very dangerous, and I never want you to do this. See, as time goes on and you spend time with a man, you spend time building with a man, there's a lot of things happening simultaneously within you. As you continue to invest your time and energy into this man, okay? So let's imagine this is your pool here of money. And you take some of this money here and you minus it, okay? So you minus some, you subtract some, and you put some into his bucket right here. So he's getting some of your money, so to speak, right? And let's say we start off here with 100, right? And this is the thing, or sorry, we'll say 1,000. And this is the thing, right? You're taking some of your money and you're subtracting 1,000 here, right? And you're putting some of this into his pool. Cool, nothing particularly wrong with that. But then as the 1 day turns into 1 month, right? You're taking a little bit more of this money over here. And let's say now you're subtracting 10,000. And so let's just say this, or we could say, we'll put it like this to make it nice and easy, nice, easy visual for everyone. Let's say the 1,000 eventually becomes 100,000. And you now have 100,000 of your dollars, hard-earned dollars, invested into this guy's pool here. And then we could say after 1 month, we jump all the way to 1 year, and you've now invested what we can consider the entire $1 million. I don't want to do too much math here for all of you, so you're not getting hot, okay? Oops, I did this wrong. Let's say we had the, we'll restart it. Okay? So in the 1 month time, just because I want you guys to all see this properly, in the 1 month time, we had 100,000, okay? So you took 100,000 of your dollars and you put it in his bucket. Okay, let me draw this properly. Okay? So we'll go backwards. The 1 month time, you took $100,000 of your money and you put it in his bucket here. So he has 100,000 of your money. Okay. You've minus that from your eventual 1 million that you started with. Okay. When you were all hot, amazing, and young, and everyone wanted you. Then you went all the way. Okay. Now we can draw out the million. Then you went all the way and you invested all of your $1 million into his bucket, into his pool here. Now, what am I talking about when I'm talking about money? Because I'm not actually talking about money. In this sense, the money is actually is time, right? Because time is like money in terms of investment. I'll explain to you why. Because when you invest your time, energy, and resources, okay, into a man, right? This will make you feel something very strange. It'll make you feel a lot more attachment and investment into the outcome of this relationship. Because when you're on the first day of talking to a guy, yeah, sure, maybe you like him, maybe you want you guys to end up in a relationship together, but you're not really pressed or fazed about whether or not you guys end up together. It's not that important to you. But then when you get into the 1 month mark, it's a little bit more important to you that the time you've been investing here, i.e. the money in this example, is actually received back to you with the outcome that you guys get into a relationship, right? You want something out for your investment of time. Then when you invest 1 year of your life into this man, you really, really want something out of this for the time that you've been investing in this man, similar to putting this pool of money into his pool, okay? Now, the reason that I say this is because this can become very dangerous. You could start putting yourself in a place mentally where you say, well, I've already spent 1 year with this guy. And this 1 year of my life, I've went through so much with him. I've had to endure so much. He's put me through so much. I've had to beg for this and beg for that and fight for this and fight for that. And so now that I've invested 1 year, even though my relationship is really bad and it's really horrible, if I walk away now, all of this will have been a gigantic waste because I spent so much time already on and with this guy. So despite the fact that this isn't the relationship I want, I don't want to walk away because I don't want to lose out on my 1 year investment, my 1 year time and energy and attention investment that I've put into this man, okay? Someone's very smart in the TikTok chat said the sunken fallacy concept, right? That's kind of what it's called, right? So this is the idea. As you invest more time, more energy, more resources into this man, you now feel it's harder to walk away from the relationship even if it's already bad, okay? And even if you recognize this isn't the relationship you want because of that already existing investment you've put in. I never want you to do this with a man or in any relationship that you're having with a man. Be very self-aware and very lucid in your thinking that, hey, as this relationship is going on, I'm continuing to reevaluate, is this man and is this relationship what I want? And is this man giving me the things that I need? Is he meeting my standards? Is he doing the things that I like? Are we getting along? Does he still, have the same way of treating me with respect and dignity and love and care and attention like he once did? Or is he not, right? You don't want to get into a position where you're allowing men who aren't showing up for you to stay in your life because you feel like you've invested a lot of time and energy already in this man. Because trust me, see, this is why I hate it when you all sleep with the man too early, because it makes you feel like you've invested more energy and attention and time than you actually have. Right? These are part of the tricks, right? And I know mentally it'll be very hard to pull yourself out of it when you feel like you're losing out on your investment, when you feel like you've already put so much into this man, you've put so much into this relationship. So what are you going to do now when you walk away? Oh, I'm going to lose a year. So what? Right? Oh, I'm going to lose 1 month. So what? Or I'm going to lose 3 months. So what? You have to feel like, so what? Because the only way for you to keep your self-respect, for you to keep your dignity, for you to keep the type of partner and relationship that you've been looking for, is for you to acknowledge and be honest with yourself very quickly and very efficiently that this isn't what I've been looking for. I recognize that. Yes, I made a mistake for a period of time. And yes, it's painful to recognize that I wasted so much time making that mistake, but it's okay. Because if I walk away now, I won't have to spend another year or another 3 years or another 5 years in the same situation or an even worse situation, having spent even more of my time and energy on this man. Okay, let's hop into point number 3. I hope that one made sense. We kind of messed up with the math there. Didn't want to make this a math course, okay? I'm actually not bad at math, but I didn't want to make this a math course because I knew some of you would start sweating if I made too much math, okay? I know some people don't like math. All right, let's hop into point number 3. Okay? All right. All right, so with point number 3, I want us to think about something very important. So we'll do here, you guys know, my drawing not too good. So don't be expecting nothing artistic here. I just don't know how to draw that in a way that makes sense. You guys will see what I mean. So we're gonna put the man here. Do you guys know what this is? Can you take a guess? Just take a wild guess. I don't think anyone will get what that is. Okay, it's not a person. Like, these are people right here. Does anyone know what this is? Up there? You know we love to have, what is Tommy drawing trivia? Okay? What is Tommy drawing trivia? What is this up here, chat? Anyone have a guess? I'll be shocked if anyone gets it. Okay? Someone said a Ouija table? Ugh, oh man. What if I do this? Will that make it better? It's not no Illuminati stuff. No one? Anyone can guess that? A snowball? No, it's not a snowball. A brain? Nope. A baby? No. Why would it be a baby? Pyramids and aliens? No. Not one person's guessed it. That's very sad. I need to get better on my. It's not a. I know. I drew the. I know because I drew the. Yeah, it's not a. No. I messed you guys up with this. Okay, it's actually. You guys are gonna make fun of me. You guys are gonna think it's funny. You guys are gonna be like, oh, no way, it wasn't that. It's a crystal ball. Okay, so point number 3 is about committing. Now, what am I specifically referring to? See, here's the thing that I don't want you to make the mistake of doing whenever you're with a guy. See, as you're building your idea and your narrative of this man in your mind, this narrative that you build of him should be consisting of the experiences that you have with this man. Meaning, as you go along and you experience what he's like, the things that he'll say, whether he's a man of his word or not, whether he'll keep his promises or not, and the way that he interacts with you and the dynamic that you guys have in your relationship, you're building your understanding of this man. You're learning him, so to speak. As you're learning him, you're then basing what you've learned about him on whether or not you'll continue to want to be in a relationship with him based on your experience that you had with him. Now, this is where the mistake comes in and what I never want you to do. I never want you to look into a crystal ball and say to yourself, crystal ball, oh crystal ball. I know what I'm seeing from him currently, right now, is oops, why did I draw that like that? Is not what I want, okay? I know that he is pretty inconsistent. I know he doesn't really ask me out on dates much, mostly asking me to his place to watch Netflix. I know he's kinda too busy all the time. He kinda doesn't seem very interested. He kinda is emotionally unavailable because he seems to be slightly still in love with his ex. But, oh crystal ball, I know. I just know because I can feel it. I can see it in my dreams. I know that he's got so much potential. And I know deep down in my heart that me and him could be together forever. Because even though he's really super busy and he doesn't show me any interest and he's not really very consistent, I know that somewhere deep down in his soul and his spirit, somewhere in there, is a good man that could take care of me, that would be the man that I need, that is everything that I want. And I know that just with a little tweaking and over the course of time and a couple of changes, he'll eventually be the person and the man that I'm looking for. Even though, in my actual experience with him, I have never actually seen the things that I'm looking into my crystal ball and hoping to see if I'm going to be in a happy, healthy relationship with him. Okay? I never want you to do this because you're basing your desire to continue a relationship with this man off of not who he actually is in terms of your real life experience with him. You're basing it off your crystal ball and what you think the future could be like, even though none of what the future could be like you've ever seen in this relationship you've had with him currently. Okay? And trust me, listen, I'm a human being. Okay? I know I joke about being an AI sometimes. Someone asks me, are you actually an AI? No. Really and truthfully, I'm actually a real human being with a real life and real experiences. So the reason I say this is I get it. When you meet a guy, it's easy to fantasize a lot about what could be. It's easy to live in a dream world where you're actually in the music video that you're imagining. And then you just implant this man into your music video in your mind. And he's whisking you off to a land far, far away and everything is so amazing. But you always have to keep yourself grounded in reality, even though you want to live in that fantasy. And even though it's very fun to live in that fantasy. Because if you don't keep yourself grounded in reality, and keep yourself very aware of what's actually happening in your real relationship with him, you will find yourself very confused on the difference between the real man you're dating and the man who exists in your crystal ball, because those are two different people. And sometimes, even if you have to write things down to remember them, even if you have to have like an accountability friend that will remind you of those things, or you can trust that if you tell her everything that she'll tell you, hey, that's not what he is. He's not the guy for you, right? You need something to keep you grounded, that you don't allow your crystal ball to become your reality, okay? And especially so that you don't start making decisions on being with him or being in a relationship with him based on this crystal ball. Does that make sense to a lot of you? I see a lot of you saying, oh, I've done this before, right? Someone says, how long can you give to determine if this is accurate, or does it take a week? It does not take a week. It takes lots and lots of months, and it also takes very key and important events. So I've talked about this in like our sex timeline for men, which is available on my YouTube channel for those of you who are curious. You go there, and one of the things I discuss is not just looking for time to pass, also looking for key events like meeting his friends, meeting his family, right? Allowing yourself to see him go through stress, go through work problems, go through family problems, go through friendship problems, right? Maybe even experience grief. I'm not saying that you want him to have to grieve, but go through a plethora of situations and circumstances with a man so that you can actually see what is he really like. Not what is he like when I first meet him and we just started dating and he takes me on one date on a Saturday night and we're slurping up spaghetti, right? Because then you might not necessarily be meeting the man you're gonna see or experience on a Tuesday afternoon, if that makes any sense, okay? Nadine in the YouTube chat donates $10. Thank you so much, Nadine. I appreciate that so much. She says, I love your content. Thank you. I love you too, as I love all of you. All right, let's hop into point number 4. Okay, point number 4. Living in your music video was fun, Chad. I know, Chad. Trust me. I have a music video in my head too. All right. But you got to remember, life ain't a music video, even though they seem fun, right? You can't allow your dating life to be lived through your mind. You gotta be here in reality as well, okay? Fantasies there's time and place for fantasies. Not all the time though, okay? Okay. Very, very important. Point number 4. All right. We all have to remember this. This is really an everyone type of topic, but you definitely want to be thinking about this as well, okay? Maybe I won't draw you with a smile on this one. I'll draw you with a frown. You're upset. You're mad. Oops. And there we go. All right. So, very important, okay? Point number 4 is disrespect. If a man disrespects you. And here's the thing. It's going to sound weird. Even nice men sometimes will try you. People will try you. It's okay. It's okay. People will try you. And it doesn't even mean they're bad people. You just have to recognize people going to try you. They're going to test you. They're going to see how far they can get with you. Now, here's the thing. Never, ever, ever allow disrespect by your man or a man that you're dating to go unpunished. Now, what you're not going to do, because if you know me, you know how I go about this when it comes to punishment. For you as a woman, your version of punishment is never to yell or scream, okay? It's never to text him 25 times. It's never to spam call him. None of that. You're not doing none of that, okay? What you're going to do, if you want to properly punish a man, you act like he does not exist. You give him no time. You give him no attention. You act like he's unimportant. Because why? That is what men actually feel is punishment. That is what actually pains them. That is what actually makes them think. That is what actually makes them a sad little puppy, okay? They understand this as punishment when you ignore them, right? Essentially, when you make them feel like they don't exist, right? Well, I'll put here. They understand that as punishment, okay? You will never, ever, ever allow disrespect to go unpunished. Sometimes when you're with a man and you like this guy and you really want this relationship to work with this guy, you don't want to ruffle feathers just because maybe he disrespected you one time or it was something small or you don't want to make a big fuss about it, right? Sometimes you can get in that mindset. I don't want to make a big deal out of stuff. I don't want to be a drama queen. You don't have to be a drama queen when you punish him. It doesn't have to be dramatic, okay? Here's the thing though. If you make the choice of allowing the disrespect to go unpunished, what will happen is that will become your established dynamic. Understand, please. I love you so much. I love you so, so much. If you allow disrespect at the beginning and you make the mistake of allowing it to go unpunished, your relationship, don't forget this idea, this concept. It's one of the most important concepts of the Players Club. A relationship is a lot like cement, very much like cement. As time goes on, in the beginning, it's very easy to pour that cement down, to shape it, to mold it how you want. You can put your handprint in it. You can put your footprint in it. You can make it change shape however you want it to be. As time goes on, though, as the sun is shining on that cement, as the days go by, it becomes harder and harder and harder to change the shape of that cement. At some point, the handprint you put down, the footprint you put down, the name you wrote in that cement will be etched in stone, quite literally. And at that point, it'll be very difficult to change the shape. It'll be very difficult to add anything. It'll even be difficult to remove anything. The reason I want that analogy to stick to your brain like glue is because I want you to understand the importance of establishing a dynamic. Because once you establish that dynamic, it'll be very difficult to change it back to something from before or to make adjustments or additions that were never existing at the beginning. It's exactly why when it comes to disrespect, you punish it, and you punish it well, so that the man that you're dating, maybe hopefully you're not dating multiple men, but the man that you're dating, right, will understand this important loop here. Disrespect, when he gives it to you, will be received punishment, in which case you're going to be ignoring him. He's going to feel very unimportant. That dynamic, that understanding will eventually harden in cement, where he'll understand, if I approach her wrong, if I disrespect her, if I, do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing, right? I'm going to get ignored. I don't like that. I'm going to get no attention. I don't like that. I'm going to feel very unimportant to her. I don't like that. Because remember, men actually receive real punishment as being ignored. They don't receive real punishment as you crashing out, okay? Don't text him a million times. He's not going to think that's punishment. Don't call him a million times. He's not going to think that's punishment. When you act as if he's unimportant, you go out and you do your own thing, that's when he thinks it's actual punishment. So never allow this disrespect to go unpunished, because if you do, you will allow that relationship to harden in stone in that dynamic, and then that will become the expectation that he has of you, right? As you don't punish him for the disrespect, right? He will begin to think, okay, I can continue disrespecting her and nothing will happen, right? And if nothing happens when I disrespect her because she doesn't choose to punish me or ignores punishing me or feels too overly dramatic if she punishes me, well, then I'll just continue to disrespect her, because clearly there are no consequences, okay? You can't be the nice girl, okay? Especially not at the beginning. You can't be the nice girl, because that's exactly when the cement is still taking its shape, all right? Let's hop into point number 5, okay? Gotta make sure you punish them properly, okay? Wait, did we have a whole show on how to, I think we did have a show on how to punish disrespect. I know there's plenty of different ways a man could try you. But is there so many different ways you can ignore a man? I guess maybe in different circumstances. I was trying to think, should we have a whole show on how to punish disrespect? Go! Oh, this is the fifth one. I was gonna say it. I don't want to say it yet. This is an easy mistake to do, and I haven't seen too many people talk about this. This is actually quite a common mistake that feels very innocent in the moment, which is why I love being able to discuss it, because of how easy and common it will be. So we'll draw you and your enormous, well, I guess your head's not that big in this one. Okay, so we're gonna draw you here. And we'll do this. You'll see why I'm doing this like this in just a bit, right? And then we're gonna draw man here. His head's slightly bigger. Not too much brain in there though. Okay, ooh, it looks like he's balding. Anyways, we'll draw these NPCs beside him. Okay, don't we love a good NPC? All right. I want you to pay attention to this. It's actually really important. Point number 5 is about going first. What am I talking about when I say go first? One of the easy mistakes to make, okay, and I never want you to make this mistake. When you start dating a guy, you might think to yourself, oh, everything's chill, cool, vibes. Everything is vibes. You know the kids love vibes. As we're vibing, I have this thing. My girls, okay? One of my really close girlfriends, she's like my BFFFFFFFFF, okay? So many Fs you can't even see straight. I love her so much. She's having a B-Day party. And me and you, we've been talking for like a month. I would love for you to come with me to this B-Day party and meet my BFFFFFF forever. She's like my sister. We basically share blood. We share saliva. We share everything, even tampons, okay? And this is the problem though, okay? Very, very big problem. And it sounds very innocent in the beginning. In this scenario, let's say you just started dating a man for 1 month and you're introducing him to your BFFFFF forever. And he has not yet introduced you to any of his friends or family. This can be very bad for you, because even though it feels innocent to introduce him to your people, because you're just like, oh, vibes, we're all vibing, everyone's friends, everyone's cool. This will do something to your psyche, and this can easily self-sabotage you. You just introduced him to your bestest friend ever. That's basically like your sister. And all of your other close friends who are at this birthday party, you're like one big family. Now that you've introduced this man that you just started talking to, right? You're like, hey guys, this is the guy I've been talking to. He's so cool. His name's Tylil, okay? Yeah, Tylil, whatever, okay? You like black men. His name's Tylil. He's tall, he's handsome, he's amazing. I love him. Guys, meet Tylil. He's my favorite, right? Oh, hey, Tylil, how you doing, right? They all meet your guy friend. Then you guys are talking about it afterwards. You're like, yeah, that's the guy I've been dating. Ha ha, you're so bubbly, you're so giggly, all that good stuff. But now something's happened to your mind. See, as you've introduced him to your circle of people, to your inner circle, your close friends, now you feel like this is a little bit more serious. You feel a little bit more invested than you even did before. Because you liked the guy before and you thought he was cool before, but now that you've told your best friend forever and all of your other close girlfriends have gotten a chance to meet him, you feel like, oh, well, my girlfriends know about this as well, so they're going to be asking me how this is going. They're going to be checking in on me. They're going to be saying, hey, did you go out with Tyler again? Did you spend some more time with him? Now what's going to happen to you, you're going to feel a lot of subconscious pressure to make this relationship with him work now, right? You want this to work, right? Because you feel in the back of your mind, this will be kind of embarrassing if I introduce him to my best friends forever and I tell him how this is the guy I'm talking to, and then 1 week later or 2 weeks later or 1 month later, we're no longer talking or things just fizzled out. Really embarrassing for me. I don't want to be embarrassed like that. So what I need to do now is I have to make this work. So even if he pulls away from me, I have to make this work. Even if he texts me less, I have to make this work. Even if he stops calling me, even if he takes me out on no dates, even if all he's doing is asking me to come over to slurp him off, I have to make this work. Why? Because I've already introduced him to my friends. Or in some cases, I've already introduced him to my family. All my inner circle already knows him. I feel the pressure that I need to make this work or else I'm going to be embarrassed because I introduced him to everyone I already know and love. And the problem with that is, in this scenario, you went first. You should never go first. When you go first, you're the one that feels that pressure to make these things work. You're the one that feels that pressure that the relationship has to get going and has to stay going and has to be sustained. When you're the one that feels that pressure, it puts you in action mode. It puts you in hunting mode. It puts you in masculine energy mode, right? And now when you notice he's not doing the same things that he was once doing, you continue trying to push instead of letting go because you don't want to feel the embarrassment of having to go back to your friends and say this didn't work out. You want that man to go first. If he's not at the place where he's ready to introduce you to his friends and his family and his inner circle, cool. You're not going to do that either, okay? You're not going to be the first one going. If he doesn't want to have a discussion about it, if he's not interested in introducing you to anyone in his life, okay, outside of just, him, then you're not interested in doing that either. The reason I say this, even though it sounds like a very weird thing to do and very standoffish, is for the reason I just stated before, but also you need to be able to recognize, is that where he's at mentally? You're introducing him to your best friend forever, but is that what he wants, to introduce you to his best friend forever? Okay, right? His BFF over here? Is he eager to introduce you to that guy? If the answer is no, why so? Because if you're imagining you guys are so close that you would love to introduce him to your best friend forever, why is he not on the same page with you of the excitement that you have to introduce you to his best friend forever? See, this is a very important thing to recognize and observe within men. I tell you, you're observing, you're analyzing, you're listening, because you need to see what is his level of interest? Where is he at, right? How much does he want this? How intentional is he being here, right? Does he have no desire to introduce me to any of his friends and family? He's never talking about it. It's only me and him. Okay, that's interesting, because when he's not introducing me to any friends and family, when he's not introducing me to anyone in his inner circle, he's actually making the opportunity very easy to walk away. Because let's just say hypothetically, he sleeps with me and then he ghosts me, right? He's not going to have to answer to anyone. He's not going to have any of his best friends saying, hey, what about Stephanie? Hey, what about Ashley? Hey, what about Lane that you met the other day or that you introduced us to, right? What happened to her, right? He's not going to have to answer to no one. And so this is why you have to gauge this. Allow the man to go first. Let him introduce you to his inner circle. Let him be the one with the pressure on him. Let him be the one with the subconscious, oh, they know her now, so I have to make sure I make this work. Let the man be the one in this mental state. I have to make this work. Let the man be the one to say, oh, you're not texting me. What's wrong? What's going on? I want to make sure we're good. I want to make sure this will work. I want to make sure I do everything I need so that we can be in a relationship. Let the man be the one in that state. You should not be the one in that state because you'll be taking on a lot of that masculine energy. Does that make sense to all of you? Okay. Right? Even if he lets me know about his family and friends, I will not tell him about my friends. Perfect. Don't. And in some cases, see, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I talk to a lot of women. So I try to absorb your mindset. Okay. I'm absorbing you into my mind. All right. Into my being. And from my understanding, this can even happen when you speak too much about a man to one of your best friends. It's going to sound weird, okay? I'll give you guys a little bit of a pro tip. This will just be for those of you who are watching the show, okay? Even in a sense of you meet a guy and you just start dating him for the first couple of weeks. Sometimes if you know that you get into the habit of like, oh, I want to tell all my girlfriends about this guy that I just met, right? Hold back on that just a little bit. Just take your time just for a second. Even though I know you want to tell your girlfriends everything, for some of you, I know that even the process of telling your girlfriends about a guy will put that subconscious pressure in your mind. Because as soon as you tell them about that guy, now you feel like, okay, well, now they're going to ask about that guy. Now they're going to want updates on that guy. Now I'm going to have to like make sure that this goes well because it's a little bit embarrassing if I talk so much good stuff about that guy and then 1 week later, that guy's not even talking to me. Or 1 week later, that guy ghosts me, okay? So for even those of you, as a pro tip, who know you get into that mental state even when you just start telling your girlfriends about a guy, refrain from that, okay? Give yourself an opportunity to breathe. Let yourself experience what it's actually like to be with that guy. Then once you can start seeing consistency from him, then you can sprinkle in some things about that guy. Don't be in a rush to tell them about the guy you just met a week ago. Because once again, you're putting that subconscious pressure on yourself and you're making it so that you feel the need to make this work. If it doesn't work, you're embarrassed now. Okay. I don't want that for you. Right. And because I know that can happen with your girlfriends. You want to tell your girlfriends everything and I want you to tell them everything, but we'll tell them at the right time. At the right time. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Right. I only tell my cats. Someone said that's funny. That's funny. Okay. Okay. It happens. Trust me, it happens. And even honestly, this even happens to guys too, right? You tell your guy friends about a girl and then you put all this pressure on yourself and it just becomes very weird and strange after that. You know what I mean? When you're dealing with people in relationships, you have to remind yourself there's portions of things that you can't control when it comes to other people. So you don't want to be in such an anxious state all the time, right? Let's hop into point number, this is, I believe, 6, right? This is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, this is 6. Okay. All right. Let me draw this properly so you guys can read my handwriting. All right, there. All right. And we'll do this like this. So this is going to look a little bit weird, but let's imagine this right here, okay? Because obviously I can't draw, so it's going to look a little weird, but you should get my drift. So we'll put you guys... Oh boy. Yeah, we'll do this. Yep. Some small lad wheels on that car. The wheel on the bus go round and round, hey there. All right. So let's do this like this. Okay. Point number 6 is about chasing. Okay? Now, I'm going to describe this visual to you that I drew, very bad visual, in a way that should make sense to you of why I don't want you doing this. When you first start dating a guy, right? Sometimes your desire to want to be with this guy, make this situation work, or maybe just because you're lonely and you haven't had a guy like you or show you any attention in so long, that you can begin saying, okay, I need this to work. Similar to like how I was talking about earlier. And then you start thinking to yourself, okay, I can't wait for you to ask for my number. I can't risk that, okay? Because you might not, and then this might not work out. I can't wait for you to come and approach me because you might not approach me. And if you don't approach me, my life's going to end because you're the only man on this earth. Or I can't wait for you to ask me out on a date. So I'm going to do it because you're acting like a little pansy and I can't sit around and wait for you to ask me out on a date because I need to be on a date yesterday. And so what do you end up doing? You end up doing a lot of the reaching out via text. You end up doing a lot of the phone calling. You end up doing a lot of the initiating for the dates, right? You end up doing a lot of the approaching. You end up doing most of the work that he's supposed to be doing as you're chasing him, even though I put him in the front here, right? Let's imagine you, I know my drawing is very bad, right? You are the driver here, okay? And we imagine him as the passenger, okay? So you're the driver of this. It's so weird. You're in the back, but you're the driver. It's the new school car. It's one of these new Teslas, okay? The seat's in the back, okay? Something like that, right? Let's just imagine you're the driver here of this car, and you're the one leading it up to its destination. And you're the one, or the reason I should say, that this car gets to this destination. Remember how I talked about your relationship being like cement? And that as time goes on, your dynamic is hardening in stone. So as you establish this dynamic in which in order to get to your destination, and your destination in this case, right? Your destination being things like dates, right? Your destination being things like texts. Your destination being things like calls, right? That you guys will see each other and spend time with each other, right? In order for you guys to get to this destination, you have to be the driver in this scenario. You have to be the one pushing this relationship forward in order for you guys to spend time together, in order for a relationship to even exist. As this goes on, from the beginning, it seems very innocent and unassuming. And you're like, hey, Tomisin, I got the guy I wanted. I wanted to get him and I needed to get him. So I went and got the guy. Cool. But then as time goes on, in order for you to keep the guy, you have to continue driving. And as time goes on and the relationship is ongoing, he continues to be the passenger because you've established a dynamic in which in order to reach this destination, you're always driving. You're always chasing. So the reason I say this, now this dynamic hardens in stone. But the problem is you went and chased that guy, did all the texting and calling and setting up the dates because you wanted a relationship. But what you didn't want is for, in order for you to sustain a relationship, that you always have to do the chasing, that you always have to do the texting, the calling, and the initiating, right? You didn't want that initially when you first started chasing. But as that dynamic got set in stone, that's what you established. And that's the dynamic in which now you must function within in order to even keep this relationship afloat. And so this is the problem with the chasing and the initiating. Even though you might feel like, well, Tomisin, that guy wouldn't text me if I didn't text him. That guy wouldn't call me if I didn't call him. That guy would not have approached me at the bar or the club or the event or the whatever if I didn't go up to him and approach him. He wouldn't have asked for my number. He would have just walked out the door if I didn't ask for him. Perfect. That's awesome. I want you to recognize that. I want you to bask in that. I want you to live in that. I want you to tan in that. I want you to rub your whole body in that. Soak it in. Because recognizing that a man was willing to allow time with you to go and not ask for your number, to walk out that door, right? And not get your contact information, to not ask you out on a date, to not text you, to not call you, recognizing that that is what he would have chosen to do is the most important realization you'll ever make. Because then you'll be able to sit back and relax and say, you know what? He's cool. Sure, I would love to go on a date with him, but he is not where he needs to be interest wise in order for us to be dating. I'm not going to press. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to yell. I'm definitely not going to beg, and I'm not going to chase. I will allow the men who are attracted to me to come to me. And if a man chooses not to come to me or approach me for any reason whatsoever, I will accept that as the truth, and I'm not going to push, right? You're in a different mental space as a woman than men are. If I was here and I was advising men, I'd say, go for the women you want. Do everything you need to do to pursue the woman that you want. Make her know that, like, yes, they're in a different mental space. You, as a woman, should not be in that mental space, okay? Nothing wrong with improving yourself. Nothing wrong with acknowledging that a guy is attractive and you'd be interested in him, but you cannot be in a hunter's mindset where you're going out and feeling like, I need to be with this guy. I need to force this to work. He's not asking for my number. I need to do the job. He's not calling me. I need to do the job. He's not texting me. No. You can't be in that place, okay? You need to recognize when men are showing you interest and recognize when they're not really showing you that much interest, or even if it's very little, okay? Because that recognition and accepting that recognition, accepting that as the truth, will allow you to move accordingly instead of living in a lie, okay? Does that make sense to all of you, right? Someone said this is exactly what I'm going through. It's very painful, right? You do not want to be the driver in your relationship. It'll become very, very painful after a while, okay? And very, very frustrating. Remember, your relationship is like cement. That's like the slogan of the day. It's going to be one of our slogans of the Players Club. Your relationship is like cement. It will harden in stone after a while, okay? All right. This one, some of you might love, some of you might hate it, depending on who you are. And I actually love this show. If you haven't watched this show on Netflix, I would advise you to, because it's quite interesting. I actually will say one of my favorite guilty pleasures, okay? So let's do this. Okay. All right. I always feel like Central C when it, all right. Anyways, so point number 7, ultimatums, okay? I love this show, number 1 on Netflix, but anyways, number 7 in ultimatums. The reason I'm talking about ultimatums is because these can be very good in some cases. They can also be very bad in some cases. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. See, when you want something from a man, or you're at your wit's end with a man, let's just say some of the things you've seen from him you don't like. Let's use an example as, hey, I don't like this thing where you're flirting with girls. I see that you're messaging girls very inappropriate stuff. You're asking them to hang out via DM. You're messaging them hard eyes. You're liking their pictures. All this weird stuff that I don't appreciate or accept in a relationship, okay? It's very strange to me. I'm telling you now that if I ever see you send another inappropriate DM to a girl ever again, I'm breaking up with you, right? This is essentially your ultimatum. This is your big, we'll even put here, your big red button. Meaning, if he presses that button, okay? If he dares to press that button once again, we'll put here, all hell will break loose if you choose to push that big red button. Don't you dare. See, when you make this ultimatum, you now have a very important decision to make. When you said this, hey, I don't like this behavior. This doesn't work for me. If you do this behavior again, I will end this relationship. Understand, if he actually does that behavior again, you need to end the relationship. You can't have a conversation about it. You can't let him explain himself about it. You can't give him an opportunity 0.5 after the opportunity you just gave him. You can't, oh, but maybe I didn't say it the right way, or we didn't have a long enough conversation. Oh, it was over phone call, so he didn't. Nothing. You cannot accept any apologies. You cannot accept any, acts of kindness. Nothing. Boom, bop, nothing. You have to follow through exactly how you said you were going to take action. Some of you might be like, well, Thompson, you're so overdramatic. Why are you saying this? This is so, like, come on, I was just upset. I wasn't actually going to break up with that guy just because of a DM. Well, then if you actually weren't going to break up with that guy because of a DM, don't say that. Okay? I'm going to say it again. If you know you're not actually going to follow through with that action, that you're threatening, I'm going to break up with you, I'm ending this relationship, do not say that. Why? I actually want to do something for you when I'm telling you this, because I want your word to be like bond. I want your words to strike fear in men. Okay, it's going to sound very, very weird the way I'm saying that. Let me just fix this here. I want your words to strike fear in men. I want them to feel like when you say you're going to do something, good or bad, that you actually mean that. Why? Because in your relationship, I want you to not have to scream or yell to get what you want. I don't want you to have to say things 85 times for a guy to take you seriously. I don't want to have you to have to beg for things. I don't want you to have to get on your knees in order for him to take you serious. That sounded dirty, but you get my point, right? I want you to be able to say something one time and he's like, oh, she's serious about it. Like I'll actually put it to memory the first time she said it. But that only happens when you show him time and time again that you're not going to be repeating yourself 80 million times. And if you say something like, hey, I'm going to break up with you if you do this and this action, then you actually break up with this man. Okay? Or follow through in whatever way you said you were going to follow through. Okay? I'm not saying you can't give ultimatums. I'm not saying you can't have boundaries, have standards, have lines that you don't want to have crossed. But if those lines get crossed, then you really have to make sure that you follow through with what you said you were going to do. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen is he's not going to take you seriously in the future, right? He's going to understand that when you're saying things, when you're talking about things, when you're making these ultimatums about things, it doesn't really mean anything when you say it. It doesn't really matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter even what you don't like or don't approve of. Because even if you don't approve of it, what will happen afterwards? Yeah, he'll apologize a little bit. He'll tell you he's sorry, even though he's really not that sorry. And then he'll continue doing what he's been doing, knowing that you won't respond in any way that you said you actually would. Okay? That's when you'll get in a position when you have to continue begging for things, when you have to get on your knees to ask for things, when you have to feel like you have to repeat yourself 85 times and he still doesn't do what you want. Okay, very bad position for you to be in, right? All right, let's hop into point number 8. Point number 8. Oh, I love this one. I love talking to you guys about point number 8. I love drilling this into your mind. I don't see people talk about this one. Maybe this is just a me thing, okay? There's a couple things where I see other people talk about them, then there's a couple things where I don't see no one really talk about it. This is one of those. Okay, really hate this. I hate this for you, actually. Really hate this for you. Let's draw out our visual here, okay? Visual is gonna be kind of funny. This kind of makes me laugh, even though it's kind of sad. All right. And then, okay. Point number 8, explaining. Specifically, over-explaining. I drew this visual out here because this can happen very easily in a relationship. You're a woman. You have emotions and feelings. I want you to have emotions and feelings. I want you to express them until you're blue in the face. Great. However, there's a time and place for everything. When you're dating a man, okay, you need to recognize whether or not he even cares about your problems, okay? Because sometimes, oh, goodbye. Sometimes you can make the mistake of over-explaining yourself, over-communicating with a man who really doesn't care, okay? Why? Because the way you're thinking this relationship is serious might not necessarily be the way he's thinking this relationship is serious. The way that you care and you're invested in the success of this relationship might not necessarily be the way he cares and is invested in the success in this relationship. But it's very important to recognize that. See, let me give you an example of what over-explaining can look like. Let's say a guy flops on you on a date. You guys were supposed to go to a sushi spot on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Tuesday at 7 p.m. came and went. He didn't send you a message all day. He didn't call you all day. He didn't let you know timing all day. He didn't even send you an excuse of why he's not showing up on the sushi date all day. Then you get to Wednesday. And Wednesday comes and you are like fuming. You're so upset that he flopped on you on the sushi date that you guys were supposed to go on. You've been sitting there all night, the previous night, from Tuesday night, crafting out your message in your notes. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to lay out this to him, and I'm going to tell him how I didn't appreciate because we were supposed to meet at the Japanese spot, and this is the address of the Japanese spot. Oh yeah, he's gonna love this, because when I explain the address of the Japanese spot, let me use the zip code too. Okay, what's the zip code? Yeah, the area code is, okay, yeah, we'll put that one there as well. So when you didn't meet me, this is how it made me feel. Yeah, the emotion is really more like disappointment. Yeah, I'm gonna write that one. And you write out your 1,000-page thesis on how it upset you that he didn't show up, what it made you feel, how you put on your best Fenty makeup and your amazing foundation, and you got a Brazilian wax that day to make sure you were looking good for him. You wore his favorite pair of jeans, you wore his favorite dress, you put on this lipstick, and how disappointed you were when you showed up and he wasn't there, or when he didn't even message you all day. And you explain and explain and explain yourself. And his response is, oh, my bad, or okay, or I apologize. I'm sorry. And you know deep down in your heart, after you went through explaining yourself paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, you know even his apology isn't a real apology, because you feel deep down in your heart, this man don't give a damn. Don't give a damn. So why do I want you to never do this? Because it doesn't serve you. Really and truthfully, if a man does you wrong and he actually has the emotional intelligence to like kind of figure out why you might not be reacting or responding to him in the same way that you were, majority of the time, a guy can figure it out, especially when it's very egregious. And if he's not able to figure it out or put two and two together, most of the time, it means he's not even using his critical thinking skills, one, or he just doesn't care. He really just doesn't care. And the reason I'm saying this is not that I want you to stop communicating your feelings, but I want you to stop over-explaining to guys who don't even show lack of care or enough care to ask you, what's going on with you? Are you upset? Did I do something? Am I, are you mad at me? What happened? What changed? Or ask themselves, was that wrong of me? Should I have approached that differently? Do I owe her an apology, right? Because the reality of it is, if a guy flops on you on a date, he's a no-show to the date, right? He should be the one to think to himself, that's wrong of me. I shouldn't, just not show up on this date and not say a word to her, right? That's inappropriate. She deserves my apology. She deserves at least to feel like I care about the fact that I didn't show up to this date, right? Not like I just won't say anything and expect her to be the one who messages me or reaches out to me, right? These are the type of things that you have to gauge, right? You can't do these things for men. You have to allow them to answer these questions for themselves, use their critical thinking skills, and say, you know what? I owe you an apology. That was wrong of me to do A, B, and C. I should have showed up, or I should have whatever the case may be, okay? So that you can be the one to say, okay, as opposed to he upsets you or he wrongs you, and it's clearly that he wronged you, and then you're over-explaining yourself when he hasn't even asked or he hasn't even inquired about how you're feeling or seemed to care about how you're feeling. So I know some of you are probably asking, well, Tomisin, in a scenario like that, what do I do? How do I handle that? How do I go about that? Because what if he just never messaged me? How do I show him that I'm upset? Are you telling me I should never communicate what I felt? This is how you do that. And I'll give you a great example. Hopefully this example sticks in your mind. In the scenario in which a guy flops on you, he doesn't show up to the sushi date, you don't say a word. You're not going to text him. You're not going to do none of this, okay? None of this. We're not doing that. Your therapist might say to do that. We're not doing that in the Players Club, okay? You ain't going to say a damn word. let the week go by. Maybe he doesn't message you for a couple of days or whatever the case may be, or he messages you the next day, Wednesday, he's like, hey, what's up? He doesn't say a word about it, doesn't even address it. Cool, cool, cool. Then he's gonna say, oh, this Saturday, you wanna go to the aquarium? You're gonna say, no thanks. He's gonna say, wait, what? Why? Are you busy? Are you doing something? What's the reason you don't wanna go, right? Because you're just gonna say no thanks. You're not gonna explain yourself. You're not gonna say nothing, right? You're gonna say, yeah, I was thinking about doing something with my girlfriends, right? Whether you have a plan or not. You can say, I was thinking about doing something with my girlfriends, might go somewhere with them, or I might just stay home. But honestly, I'm not trying to hang out with you. Then he's gonna say, wait, what? What do you mean? You don't wanna go to the aquarium? Me and you go to the aquarium? Nah. Why don't you want to go to the aquarium with me? Before you were so excited for us to go out and spend some time together and do all these things together. You don't seem excited anymore. You're thinking about hanging out with your friends. What about next week? Nah, next week, I don't want to hang out either. You don't explain again. Why don't you want to hang out? Now all of a sudden you don't want to do stuff with me. You don't want to hang out with me. No, I'm good. Why are you good now? Because I just felt last time we were supposed to hang out. We didn't. I went to go do something else. I don't have time to be wasting time. Leave it there. Then he's going to think, oh, shit. Tuesday, we were supposed to go to the sushi spot, and I flopped. But this is a very important realization because he's not going to think to himself, Tuesday, we were supposed to go to the sushi spot. And, she was begging me, asking me what's going on, asking me for the timings of things. He's going to realize, oh my gosh, Tuesday came and went. She just went and did something else. It's already gone. I didn't hear about it. She didn't bother me about it. I completely forgot about it. There's no saving it now, right? And there's no saying, oh, I was just about to text you because now a lot of time has passed, right? So one, he gets to proper feel guilty about it. But two, he also recognizes that when he disappoints you, you'll just move on with your life. It's not like you're going to sit around and be like, is today the day that we're going to go to the sushi place? I've been waiting all week. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, maybe. No, you're just going to move on with your life. And if you don't like the way that he's presenting himself to you, the way that he's approaching you, the lack of attention, care, consistency he's showing you, you just move on with your life. Very simple. So this is kind of a version of ignoring men in a way where it makes them feel unimportant. Because you ignore the fact that he flopped in the sense that you just go out and do whatever makes you happy. You don't need him to bring you happiness. If he doesn't want to follow through with his plan, sure, flop. But I'm not going to continue trying to hang out with you. Then you'll have a scenario if he really does care, and now he's recognizing this. No, I promise, no, we'll do this, we'll do that, I'll make it up to you, I'll do this, I'll do that. And then maybe you can consider. But what I want you to do is for that first round, that first go around of him asking you to go out again, I want you to deny him. Even if he tries to pull out all the stops to get you to go and get you to cancel your plans with your friends or go out with him instead, you say, no, today is for my girls. You chose to do whatever you wanted to do that day and not message me, that's fine. But I've made this plan with my girls now, or I decided that I was going to do something for myself this weekend, and I'm not changing that now that you remember that we were supposed to go out on Tuesday and you feel bad now, okay? Sometimes you have to let men sit in that misery, that disappointment, that anxiety of, oh, I treated her badly, I did a bad thing, I did a no-no, and now she's moving on, right? Or doing her own thing, and let them sit with that so that they can understand next time, if you don't like this feeling, right? You don't like being on timeout, you don't like feeling like a bad dog, then next time when you make a promise, when you set a date, you actually follow through with it. Or you be like an adult and let her know ahead of time on what's going on. Does that make sense to all of you? Right? Someone says, I like this guy, his common sense is good. Thank you. Right? Great way. When he can ask you, hey, let's do this, let's do that, and you can already have something else that you're doing. And this is the thing too. I know you guys are all girls, and I'm not advising you to lie, but you don't even have to let guys know everything that you're doing, right? Even if you don't have a plan for that day or that weekend, you can just say, I'm busy. I have something that I want to do. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm busy, I'm going out here and doing this, right? You can just let them know, hey, I got other things to do. You don't need to know about everything that I'm doing. Okay, right? That's going to make some guys feel uncomfortable, but sometimes you got to make them feel uncomfortable when they're not acting right. Okay, you teach them a lesson. Teach them a lesson. Everyone needs a lesson, a little check once in a while, okay? Okay, Let's do this like this. Let me transfer this like this. You guys will laugh at this because I know what some of you will be thinking, okay? So we'll do him here, and then we'll do you here. So you'll see how this will work, okay? So he'll have, let's see, we'll say some of these basic things, okay? And this is very bad. Very bad this is, okay? I never want you to do this. Point number 9 is about bills. Never in your wildest dream. Don't even dream. If you dream about it, I'm going to reach myself inside your dream. I'm going to come on top of your bed. I'm going to slap you in the face multiple times until you wake up. And I'm going to tell you, never dream about that ever again. If you dare to ever dream of paying a man's bills, that's exactly what I will do to you. Don't even dream about it. Some of you might be thinking, Tomisin, I would never be so stupid. I would never be so foolish to pay a man's bills. Trust me. I've helped a lot of women, a lot. Life comes at you very fast, okay? The reason I say this, it's very gradual. You'll start off, right? And this guy will tell you a nice little sob story about where his life is at this current moment, about how things are really a struggle for him. And it'll be so small, so itty bitty, you can't even see it happening. You'll just start paying for some of his food, some of the dates, right? Some of his groceries and things like that, because you just want to take care of him. You know he's going through a tough time. You don't want him to be going through a tough time. And then after a while, right, it'll creep up on you so slowly. And now all of a sudden you're pitching in on things like his car, helping it run, helping him fix some repairs, helping him, get to work and stuff, because if he can't get to work, he's going to get fired. And then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, right, you're paying for his rent, whether directly or indirectly, because now he's moving in with you, because he's convinced you that you guys can save money if he moves into your place. But when he moves to your place, your name is on the lease and you're paying most of the rent. And now he's eating your food that you're now having to pay the grocery bill for. And now you're sending him money to fix the repairs on his car. Trust me, it happens so slowly that you can't even notice it. Then one day you look back on your life and you realize you're supporting a man. Okay? This is the problem. When you're doing it, you feel like you're justified in doing it. Because as you're doing this for that man, you're thinking, oh, I'm helping him get off of his feet. I'm helping him get to the next level. I'm doing something, nice and kind for him because he's kind of like a guy in need right now and he needs me. But the problem is, I have to be real with you. Men get very complacent very fast. And if you give him an opportunity to be able to access you, mind, body, and soul, but then also you're the one taking care of him, right? He will say, why would I ever leave this situation? And why would I ever start doing work where I'm now taking on more responsibility? Because trust me, in the process of you basically managing everything, he's still going to expect to be able to access you, for you to be available to him, for you to be wet for him, all that good stuff that benefits him, because he gets very, very complacent, okay? And as he gets more and more complacent, he starts asking himself, why would I ever go back to doing work? Why would I ever go back to giving to her? Why would I ever go back to doing for her when she is clearly comfortable, or okay at the very least, with doing for me? I know some of you think it will never happen to you in a million years. I've seen even the mightiest fall, even the mightiest. And slowly but surely, you'll be in a place where you're doing everything for that man, and he's literally doing nothing for you. And even when you describe to your friends your relationship with that man, you're scratching your own head and saying, I don't know why I'm with that guy. I really don't. And it's crazy. It's almost like a version of hypnosis because you're so deep into it that even when you're telling people, I literally don't know why I'm in this relationship, I couldn't tell you. You can't pull yourself out. It's so sad. It's so it's like you can see yourself from above, from a third person perspective. And you can see that this is very bad for you, but you can't pull yourself out. Don't start, okay? Don't start from the very beginning, because as soon as you start hearing certain types of rhetoric from a man, right? That he needs you to support him. He needs you to help him get here or help him get there. He needs you to help him with this or help. Just let it go. Let that guy go. Let that relationship go. I know some of these guys seem nice. I know some of these guys seem innocent, but I'll just give you the honest reality. Majority of the time, you will end up being the one that gets played and gets used in the process. Okay? More times than not, when you do all the work for supporting that man, it's not going to end good for you. Okay? Either you're not going to end up with that man, even if he does end up going, I'll just be real with you. Even if he does end up going somewhere with the support you've given him, he's not going to choose you afterwards when he's finally back on his feet. That's number one option. Or number two, he gets so complacent that he ends up never getting off his feet and always just being a leech off of you. So really and truthfully, you don't win either way. I'm not saying a man can't have a plan for himself and be able to grow and get better over the course of time. I just don't want you to be the one to take on that burden, okay? A man can get himself off of his feet and work to where he needs to go. That's perfectly fine. But you don't need to be the one forfeiting your lifestyle or giving all of your resources to him in order to get to that point. If he's in that dire of need and trouble, he need to go to his mama. He need to go to his daddy if his daddy's around. He need to go to his brother, his sister, his auntie, his aunt. It can't be you, okay? He shouldn't even be sniffing dating. If he needs a girlfriend to support him, he shouldn't even be sniffing a date, okay? Nowhere near Nobu. He should have a restraining order against restaurants, okay? And that should be the mindset that you adopt. I'm really serious about that because it happens so slowly. You don't even realize it. Trust me, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot make a grown man cry. All right, point number 10. Point number 10. Very important. Very important. All right, point number 10. So here's the thing. We'll draw you here. And I want us to kind of let's do this so we're on the same page. Okay, we'll do this like this. All right, point number 10. Point number 10 is about standards. Very dangerous for you to get into a relationship and ever make the mistake of allowing your standards to diminish. When you think of a relationship and you think of your needs, you should be self-aware enough to understand what your needs are in a relationship. You have a threshold, right, of the things that you need, right? This is where your needs lie, so to speak, right? These are the things you need to be present in order for a relationship to work. There's a threshold for that. You might need a man who is attractive, who cares, who's intentional, who's consistent, a man who will take you out, a man who will be kind, courteous, respectful. Those are your needs, right? And these are your standards that you would love to have in any romantic relationship. What happens though? You meet a guy, and see, your needs were up here for most men that you would be in a relationship with. This guy, though, you really like him. When I say you really like him, I mean like you're maybe extra attracted to him than you are the average guy. Or the vibes you feel around him are extra vibey. Or maybe he's got an extremely big, large, deep penetrating D game. And you're thinking to yourself, well, there are some things I really like about him. And despite the fact that he doesn't meet all of my needs, there are some needs that he really, really meets, and he like goes above and beyond for those needs. Here's the problem though. When you allow this process to happen and you allow this man to fall below your already existing needs because you're like, well, I really, really like this guy, so he doesn't need to meet all of my standards because I really, really like him and I'm really, really attracted to him. This is the problem now. Now you get into a place where you've just allowed standards that were once standards for any man you would date to no longer be standards because now all of a sudden you really like this guy. So you're doing what I call giving out special treatment. You will never do that. You will never give out special treatment to a man, no matter who he is. Okay? Before you begin dating, you will come up with your list and criteria of what your expectations and needs are in a relationship, what you expect out of a man and what you expect out of a partner. Okay? Now, I want you to be very clear on what those things are and what your needs are. Then, when you get into a relationship, think of yourself like a scientist, a very logical, stern, focused scientist. Because you come to your dates with your notebook in your mind and your pen ready to write, observe, listen, and analyze all of this beautiful information you're soaking in from him. All you're doing is coming in with your already existing checklist. And as you're getting to know him, as you're talking to him, as you're experiencing him through the months and months of you guys dating, you're checking off on your checklist and asking yourself, I came in to this dating, talking stage, whatever stage, with this criteria. Is this criteria met? If the answer is yes, we check the box off as a check mark and we go on. If the answer becomes no, and I find myself going down the list and crossing X's on all of these different boxes of expectations of needs that I had for the standards that I came into this relationship with, I will no longer be with this man. I don't care if some boxes like D game have 3 check marks on them. That's not a compensation that will allow me to be with the man who, just because I really like him, he doesn't meet any of my other needs. So whatever, forget it, forget my standards. Let's just be with this guy. Okay? We're not doing that. Your criteria is your criteria for any man. So if one guy that you really like disrespects you and goes crazy on you or does something that you know doesn't meet your standards and he falls below that threshold, you throw him out. You throw him out. You throw him out. You're not in the business of allowing guys to exist in your life down here and you just say, well, I really like you, so whatever. Okay? You're no longer, when you join the Players Club, you're done being a whatever type of girl, okay? You have your standards. Everyone gets treated the same. You don't like how strict I am. You don't like my rules and regulations. Go find another girl with no rules and no regulations, okay? I'm sure you won't be too happy when you find out the girl with no rules and regulations says yes to everyone, okay? You're not in the business of saying yes to everyone. You will say yes to the right man, and that's the stance you're going to continue to take. If he doesn't like that, he can kick rocks. And the ironic part about that is even the men that will complain about that, trust me, when they're looking for a wife and you're speaking like, hey, I'm not a yes girl, so if you're looking for a yes girl, go elsewhere. They might throw a tantrum. Oh my God, why are you doing this? You're no fun. And then they'll realize, wait, I'm looking for a wife, so I don't want a yes girl. I actually want a woman who respects herself, because the woman who respects herself is less likely to say yes to a bunch of random guys, which means all those random guys don't have access to her. So trust me, it sounds like a catch-22, but in the end of the day, they'll like you more for having standards and keeping those standards standard than not having standards and letting people get past the bar, okay? Do you guys understand all the 10 points that we discussed here? Do you guys have any questions about the 10 that we discussed? You can ask your questions here and we shall discuss on the show, okay? We went through a lot, 10 things. 10 things I don't want you doing with men. Okay, does that make sense to all of you beautiful people? Forever Coco says, one thing I'm good for is ignoring. I will ghost so that you'll question if I really exist. See, this is the thing. I know for some of you who are probably avoidance or more secure, it's easy. The idea of like allowing a man to just sit in his own sadness, okay, and tears is easy for you. But for those of you who are more anxious, allowing a man to sit with his own feelings and not get into the business of over explaining can be a little bit more challenging. But trust me, you'll get way better results letting men sit with their own feelings and thoughts than over explain. You will get no results from none. It's so horrible. It's very sad when I see it happening, okay? Someone says, what do you think about long distance relationships and cheating? Oh, in a short distance relationship, cheating wouldn't be good. So what's the difference in a long distance relationship? Can you explain? Right? Oh, someone says, Emerald says, can you give me a recap of everything I just came in? I got the perfect answer for you, Emerald. All you got to do is go up to my YouTube channel, which is just above my head. You can type in my name, just my first name, Tomisin. When you go onto my YouTube channel, technology is amazing. I'm live on YouTube at the same time as I'm live on TikTok. Then when you get to my YouTube channel, just click the live stream and then you'll see me live there as well. And you can rewind it and see everything that I talked about, like literally right now. You don't even have to wait for it to be uploaded. It'll be there for you to rewind right then. So goes for any of you who want to rewatch any of the points that we discussed or you missed any of the points, because we went through 10. We went detail, okay? Someone says, I mean, both long distance relationship and cheating as two different topics and your opinion on both. Well, long distance relationships, to me, they're not real, okay? The only version of a long distance relationship that I accept is a relationship that wasn't long distance. You built and cultivated your relationship, and then maybe because of work or school, now you guys have distance with each other, and maybe it's for a temporary period of time until eventually you guys will rejoin each other, whether you're moving to his city, he's moving back, whatever the case may be, and then you guys will be in a relationship again. That's really the only long distance relationship that I certify and will stamp. All the rest are questionable because, trust me, I know whenever guys are building these relationships with you from long distance, a lot of times they'll have their own thing going on in their city with women who they can access physically in that city. So you're getting attached and you're feeling like you're building something here, and then you don't know what he's doing when he drops that phone. Or you know what I mean? And I've helped so many women. I've seen it multiple times where girls will be in a long distance relationship with a guy only to realize later on he has a wife, he has a girlfriend, he has a whole nother situationship or whatever the case may be. And he's been selling her this dream that they're in a relationship and it's not really even been a relationship. I just have to be super real with you, okay? Mary Axe says, is 40 minutes long distance? No. I consider long distance when you cannot, it's not feasible. Feasible just means realistic to see someone more than twice a week because of distance. So it's kind of a little bit dependent on your scenario. For example, if you live an hour and a half away from a guy, but that guy has a perfectly working car and is willing to see you more than twice a week, or you know what I mean, he can feasibly, like he'll drive 1.5 hours, it's nothing to him, then I don't consider that a long distance relationship. But then as you start extending the distance, and it takes longer and longer to see someone, it's very difficult or less realistic for that person to see you more than really once or twice a week. So at that point, you're starting to get into long distance relationship territory, okay? Alicia says, but what if your soulmate is living across the world from you and there's nothing good in your city? Alicia, you said something that there's a lot of people who have this virus. Okay, it's a virus. Alicia, it's a virus. Don't let this virus take over your mind. The reality of it is, men are the same everywhere. The men in Costa Rica are the same as the men in LA. The men in New York are the same as the men in Miami, as the same as the men in Toronto, as the same as the men in Nigeria, okay? All the men are the same. What I mean by that is from the standpoint as regardless of where you meet a man, you will need to understand these techniques that we talk about in the Players Club and about relationships to properly evaluate and analyze the men that you're dating. You will always need that skill set no matter where you meet a man. It's a virus to think that the men are better in the places that you're not. Because what will happen is you'll convince yourself, oh, the men in my city, they're trash, they're disgusting, they're useless. I need to go to LA. In LA, all the men are amazing, they're awesome, they're so handsome, they're all good looking, they look like actors. And the women in LA are saying, why the hell do you want to come to our city? Our city's trash. All the men are useless. All the men are disgusting. They're all hoes. Why would you want to come to I need to go to London, UK. And in London, UK, that's where all the beautiful, handsome men are with accents, and they have the beautiful British accent, and their skin is so dark and rich. And oh my God, they're amazing. The women in London, UK are saying, why the hell do you want a London man? You want a road man? You want a London road man wearing a shiesty? Disgusting. Why would you not go to Miami? And everyone is saying the same thing, okay? So understand, men are the same everywhere. The woman in the city that you're thinking, oh, all the men in that city are way better, they're thinking those men are useless. So you will have to gain the skill set to be able to evaluate men and figure out whether he's a useless trash man or whether he's a golden amazing man. You'll have to gain that skill set anywhere you go. There is nowhere you'll go where all the men will be amazing and none of the men will be trash. Just nowhere you'll go. So get that virus out of your mind and start figuring out how you can utilize strategies to be able to have success in your relationships, regardless of where you go, regardless of what the culture is, regardless of what the religion is or what the race is, because that is what will actually help you have relationship success, okay? Not just going to a different country or a different whatever, right? Notice that even in our Players Club, right, we have women from all around the world, which means women from all around the world are looking to better understand men and how to have successful relationships. That should tell you something about what the men are like in these other countries. Because I know for some of you, tell me in the chat, okay? Because I'm curious actually, because I know some of you have that in your mind. Where do you live? And where is the city or place that you think all the amazing men are? Just be honest with me, because I know a lot of you have that in your mind. Tell me where you are, and then tell me where you think, oh, all the men in wherever or where I think, I should be, okay? Right? Someone said Scandinavia, I think Paris. Virginia Beach, I think New York. London and nowhere, okay? Toronto, interesting. Dubai, you're from Dubai, or you think all the men in Dubai? That's okay. UK and I think Canada. I hate to disappoint you. I live in Toronto, so I'll disappoint you. London, UK, the only amazing man is Jesus. Okay. Paris and the Paris men are sweet. Okay. From Birmingham, UK, and I think Midwest men in the US. Oh, you be disappointed. I've been a lot of chat. You guys know I live in Toronto now, but I actually grew up, like I did my elementary school in the USA. So I've lived in both. I've experienced both. So trust me, I be knowing, okay? Living in Paris, I think outside of Paris. I think Middle East men are good. Interesting. I have a lot of Middle East connections. I'll say that's very interesting. Ghana, men are the same everywhere. They really are. Copenhagen, and I want men where Tommy is. I live in Toronto. Ask the girls from Toronto what they think about Toronto men. Then you'll see what I mean. I live in Boston. My last boyfriend was in Ireland, and it was worse. UK, but I want Jamaican. You must be lost. You must be lost. UK and you want Jamaica. You want a heartbreak. You want pain. That's what you want. The best man I've ever met lives in Toronto, but he's from the country. Interesting. Someone says, let me know if you're interested. Me? You want me? I'm the teacher. This ain't about me. Toronto men have 50 girls in their phone. I know a guy who went on 2 dates in 1 day. That's interesting. I'm moving to Alaska. See, trust me, chat. No matter where you go, the men are going to be the same. And you know what's funny about this? I hope that some of you even saw in your messages, right? You might live somewhere and you think, oh, I want to go to this place because that's where the men are amazing. And then you see someone else saying, I live in this place and I want to go to a different place, right? That's the irony of that. When we all get to like congregate and join each other, you realize that you're not going to have a different experience just because you go to a different city, right? So you're better off learning the skill set to be successful in any city. Because the men, they gonna play you whether they speak English, Japanese, Spanish, whether they speak Arabic, whatever it is that they speak in. They gonna try and play you. They gonna test you. It's all the same. So you got to understand these tactics no matter what language, culture, religion you are. It really doesn't change anything, okay? Right? Someone says, what are Frenchmen like? I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. Maybe they're romantic like the movies. or maybe they aren't romantic like the movies, right? So very important. Someone says, what can I do to make him ask me out on a date? It's been 2 months. We're just texting each other. You do nothing. Okay. You do absolutely nothing. You're not in the business of trying to force a man to want to go on a date with you. If he is not recognizing within himself that he wants to go out on a date with you, it's not your job to convince him to want to do that. It's better for you to recognize that he doesn't seem that interested and move on with your life. I know it sounds very harsh to say it like that, but when you get into a cycle of feeling like you need to do something so that he'll want to take you out on a date, and all you guys have been doing is texting, it's just a pointless activity. Like, you're doing work for what? For a man who doesn't even think of you the same way, right? Clarice says, for point number 9, offering to bring your committed boyfriend on a date is wrong. Wait, what? Oh, no. Offering to bring your committed boyfriend on a date is not wrong. But what I don't want is, I don't want you to establish your dynamic or turn your dynamic into you chasing the man. So initiating once or twice in a committed relationship is not a bad thing. But constantly initiating and chasing in the relationship to the point where the relationship can only exist when you are the one doing the pursuing is not good, even in a romantic relationship, right? If you're doing all the initiating for your relationship to be sustained, you are not in a good place, okay? So that's why I made that point about chasing. And I should have even said chasing on a consistent basis, because chasing is not offering or thinking of a good date idea for you and your boyfriend or your husband, right? Chasing is, hey, I have to call you or else you won't call me. I have to text you or else we ain't going to text at all. I have to plan a date every week or else we're not going to do anything at all. That's when you get into a place of chasing on a consistent basis, which is not good, okay? And I don't want you doing that whatsoever, all right? Someone says, why do mean girls get more love and attention than nice girls? So we've talked about this before, right? Mean girls, because they give off the energy that they don't care, men actually receive that as, you must be more valuable and have more options, which is why you're mean to me, because you don't give a damn. The girls that are really, really overly nice and overly accommodating, guys actually receive that as, you must have no options, which is why you're being so nice and so overly accommodating, because you need me to be with you, right? No, there's no other guy walking through that door that's going to want to be with you. So you really care. Like, you really want this to work, which is why I say you're better off just being mean. You honestly get more guys when you're, and being mean doesn't have to be being rude. It just means like setting hard boundaries, telling men no sometimes, and honestly just acting like you don't care sometimes. I didn't tell you I was going to give you advice that your therapist would give you. I'm going to give you advice that works in the real world, okay? We're not all perfect human beings. So the advice that I give you will work on men. Unfortunately, your therapist will say that's toxic, okay? Your therapist not going to tell you to be mean to men. Your therapist, but you should be nice and you should communicate your feelings and tell people how you feel and explain to them. I'm not going to say that. So if you came to me hoping that I was going to give you like advice like your therapist would give you that sounds super healthy and super evolved and all, I'm not going to give you that advice, okay? I'm going to give you like real world advice to deal with the real world that we actually live in, okay? I want you to be successful in your relationship, but I'm going to give you the real strategies to do that, not the stuff that you'll see on like Veggie Tales or something like that in a song, in a sing song. That's not the way I teach, okay? What are the great points to have long time love and relationship to the end of my life with a partner? Wait, what do you mean? Like the things that you need to do? What do you mean by that? Okay. Someone says, I got way further when I literally only cared about myself. See, the thing about that is, and the reason for that is because as a woman, the more you invest in yourself, ironically, the more valuable you become as a woman. Because think about the things that you're doing when you're investing in yourself, right? You're going to the gym, you take care of your hair, your skin, your nails, your body, your mind. You'll read for yourself, right? Maybe you'll go on trips, you'll go on vacations, you'll see different things, you'll experience different things, you'll eat good food, right? All the things that you do to invest in yourself, a man comes across, he says, oh my God, look at her, look at how radiant she is, look at her energy, look at her aura, look at how beautiful she is, look at her. I want her. But where does that derive from? That derives from you spending all that time and energy investing in yourself. Whereas, let's say hypothetically, you spent all your time and energy investing in other people, doing things for them, going places for them, never taking care of yourself because you're always doing for others and never investing in yourself. what's going to happen to you? You won't be in shape. You won't look good. Your hair will be a mess. Your face will be a mess. You'll have, because you spent all that energy that was supposed to be going back to you or into you on other people, whether it be friends, family, whoever, right? And then what will happen is you'll subsequently become a less attractive version of yourself. So if you really want to focus on being the most attractive, radiant version of yourself, just make sure you're doing activities that are investing in you, and then be very, very stingy and selfish with your time. Because if you don't balance it right, you'll make the mistake of starting to invest too much time and energy into other people and other things. And then you'll lose your ability to attract high quality partners because you're not doing that energy investment in yourself. Okay? All right, chat. Let's hop into our next portion of the show. By the way, for those of you who have a personal question for me, and let's say I didn't answer it on this show or didn't answer it in the chat here, you can always go to the link in my bio if you're watching this on TikTok, or in my description if you're watching this on YouTube, and you can ask me a personal question there. Send it in via text, type out as many paragraphs as you want. When you send it into me and you click where it says private relationship advice, then you send it into me, you'll be able to receive a voice message from me, usually 8 to 10 minutes long. I'll address your situation. I'll give you advice or perspective on the situation as needed.
How many of you have gone to sleep one night only to wake up the next morning to find out your partner, in my case, my husband, has been living a double life and you never had a clue? I found out about this on Wednesday, March 18th, 2009. That was the first time that I discovered I was married to someone living a secret double life. And I'm excited to tell the story to you of how it was revealed to me and everything that happened in the ensuing days, months, and years after discovering this. I do have to say and preface this with, it's a whole lot more than just the fact that I thought I was worth $10 million and discovered I was actually penniless. So on March 18th, I was headed out on an errand when my phone rang. It was my ex-husband calling, telling me that he was hoping to spend some time with me that morning. So I turned the car around and met him at our motorhome. Now, he told me later that it was intentional that he had me meet him at our motorhome because he knew I hated the motorhome. I hadn't wanted it. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought it was another one of his frivolous, excessive purchases. But we owned it. He wanted to have a chat with me. So he asked me to meet him at the motorhome, and I did. We sat down at the kitchen table of the motorhome, and he destroyed my world. He also told me later that he had planned that day, that moment, for over 1 year. So I walk in, I sit down at the kitchen table in the motorhome, and he had been on the phone. He ended his phone conversation, sat down, and told me that he wanted to talk to me about his company, Market Street Advisors. This was his full-time job. It was his investment company that he owned and ran. And he said, I need to tell you that my company, Market Street Advisors, is a sham, and it has been from the very beginning. I've actually been running a Ponzi scheme. It's hard to even breathe when I think back to that moment and being told that particular sentence.
Okay, real quick, I'm just going to jump in. For those of you who are unaware, a Ponzi scheme, in a simple explanation, first of all, it's an illegal scheme, and it's, you know, they also refer to it as a pyramid scheme. All it means is that instead of running a real investment firm where people will pay you money, you'll invest in stocks, bonds, funds to be able to make a percentage of that money plus more money and interest back, and then pay it out to the people who invested initially, basically taking your $10,000, flipping it to $100,000. Instead of doing that in the legal way, he's taking people's money. He's not actually investing it in anything real that will return interest to him, and then he can pay it out to the people who invested. He's basically taking that money. He's not doing anything with it, and then he's using new people who come into the scheme and pay in their way in, hoping to get the return on investment. He's taking that new money and then he's paying out old investors with the new money. That's illegal because there's no actual investing being done. He's just taking funds from new investors and then paying out old investors, right? So eventually it creates a scheme or a structure in which as soon as people start pulling their money out, everything crumbles and there's not enough actual real money to support the paper money or the, that's been given to him and what's supposed to actually be there. So long story short, it's illegal.
I honestly wasn't too sure what a Ponzi scheme was. I knew it was an illegal thing to do, but I hadn't paid much attention to Ponzi schemes beyond that. He then proceeded to tell me that 2 days before, on Monday, March 16th, he had hired an attorney. That on Tuesday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, ironically, that was the day I took the last family pictures of the family as I knew it, only I didn't know those were the last pictures I would ever take of our family. But anyway, on Tuesday, he, in the company of his attorney, had turned himself in to federal authorities, representatives of the U.S. government, and revealed his crimes. Later that night, while we were gathered at the TV as a family watching American Idol, he got up in the middle of the show, announced that he had to go to a meeting with our church leaders. He left for a period of time, came back while the show was still on, sat down, continued watching American Idol with us. And when I asked how his meeting had gone, he told me fine and went to bed that night thinking everything was normal. And then on that morning, Wednesday, March 18th, that was the date that all of those people had given him to tell me. So I was the fourth reveal, the fourth conversation or party that he told. And I can guarantee sometimes the wife really is the last to know. That's exactly what happened in my case. So he's destroyed my world. My mind is reeling. None of this seems real to me. And he proceeded to tell me that all of our assets were frozen and scheduled for seizure by the federal government. He told me that he anticipated being charged within 7 days, sentenced within a month, and taken into custody within 6 to 7 weeks. And following all of that, he anticipated serving a sentence of 5 to 7 years in federal prison. When he uttered the words prison, I cannot even describe how that felt or what I was thinking. My mind was reeling. I didn't know how I was going to live or support my family or anything. I did hear the word prison, but I remember thinking and saying to him, oh my gosh, well, thank goodness the house is paid off. At least the kids and I will have a place to live.
It doesn't work like that when you're using illegal funds to purchase personal property.
And when I expressed that out loud to him, he said, no, you don't understand. The house is gone. The cars are gone. The savings and investments are gone. Everything is gone. And then he reminded me that everything would be seized by the federal government and would go toward paying restitution to the victims of his crimes. So at the same time that my mind is reeling and I'm feeling shock and horror and disbelief, there is just a part of me centered in darkness. I just could not comprehend. It felt like I didn't even understand English. I just kept trying to process it, and it wasn't working. I also kept thinking, he's got to be joking. This can't be real. No way is any of this true. He'd always kind of been an absent-minded professor, forgetful about names or dates. Even once on a cruise in October, I had had a beautiful cake delivered to me with all of the wait staff congratulating me on my anniversary, only our anniversary was in August. And I reminded my ex-husband of that, and he looked at me stunned and in shock, thinking, wait, well, what have I forgotten? This is for your birthday then. And I reminded him, no, my birthday is also in August. So he was just forgetful about some things. So the whole time he's telling me this, I keep thinking, this has to be a joke. This has to be an April Fool's joke. April Fool's Day is only a few weeks away. He's always confused about the calendar. This has to be a prank. But this is so not funny. He is not being very funny right now. I also remember asking about one client in particular, the father of one of my really good friends that I had known since college, even longer than I had known my ex-husband. I knew that that particular person had invested money with him a few months earlier, maybe up to a year earlier, and I was worried about them, worried about that money. And I remember asking, well, what's their situation? How are they? How could you do that to them? And he assured me they would be fine, that there would be restitution. And then, despite all of that, somehow, despite all of the shock and horror, a small yet insistent voice in my head was strongly speaking to my mind. Is that all? Ask him, is that all? Is there more? Is that all? Ask.
There's no way.
Ask. I felt like a fool because I couldn't really imagine what else there could be. I mean, wasn't a secret double life of crime enough? My mind just would not stop reeling. But I listened to that insistent voice and repeated the question out loud. Is that all? I don't know that I was even expecting an answer, but I got one, and it wasn't all. He shook his head no, and then he revealed that in addition to running a Ponzi scheme and defrauding the world, he had also hired call girls. Now, if crime hadn't blindsided me enough, for some reason, the infidelity shocked me as much or more than approximately his 15 years of crime. I still think I couldn't believe any of it or comprehend any of it, but then he started to cry. And I'm not sure if I'd ever seen him cry before. And that's when it hit me. This was real. He wasn't joking. My life was suddenly a nightmare. This cannot be happening. This cannot be me. This cannot be my life. It felt like the walls and the world was closing in on me, and I had to get away.
Okay, so some of you are probably wondering what call girls are. So call girls are women who provide, I don't know if I can say this word, escort. They're, well, I guess it's not a bad word. They're escorting men around town, and they're taking care of them real good. Services or companionship in exchange for money, typically arranged through a phone call, website, or agency. Okay. So that's what call girls are, for those of you wondering. So he was, in addition to running his illegal Ponzi scheme, he also had basically paying some pineapple workers on the side to, do whatever it is that he wanted them to do. So she found that all out in one. Now, I don't want to, ever victim blame, because there's only a certain point where what are you supposed to do? Obviously, if she would have known all this in hindsight, she wouldn't have been with the man. But I guess cases like this and stories like this, we can use to remind ourselves why it's so important to ask a lot of questions on dates and never ever assume oh, I already know enough about this person, I don't need to ask any more questions. Because being inquisitive about your man and about the person you're dating can save you a lot of heartache and can save you a lot of trouble, because you can get a lot more answers the more questions that you do ask. And also, even if you're in a situation, because I know some women adopt this mindset, if they're with a guy who does a lot of big business and he makes a lot of money and he can take care of her, they don't bother to care, okay, how is he getting his money and what exactly does he do? I've seen it actually before where it's you'll have a couple and then the wife will be like, yeah, honestly, I don't really know what he does. I don't really understand it, because she just, either one, she doesn't have interest in it, and two, she doesn't really care because it doesn't really affect her life because she gets to buy Chanel bags either way. But still, very important to understand not just, what your man does, like how he does it, what the process is. You don't have to be an expert in it, but asking, questions enough will get you a better understanding of what his day-to-day is like, what his schedule is like, an understanding of what he does, what the industry is like, and all that other stuff should give you more clarity on what he's doing and how he's doing it, which is good. Because then if things don't make sense or things don't go together or that's not what industry standard is, you can be more aware of the fact that something is off here. It would be like, for example, a police officer that, let's say, he naturally works 4 days on and 4 days off is a natural police, schedule. Now all of a sudden he tells you, so now I'm working 1 week and 1 week off. And then you can say, well, that's not how that works because I know that police officers would never work 1 week and 1 week on and 1 week off because I know what the schedule is. I know how they do things. And you've explained this and this and this to me, right? So that better clarity and understanding will always help you, like, in the future, in my estimation, at least in my estimation.
Thank you. I'm so hungry. I could eat a whole jasmine rice.
This is such a weird trend to me.
Like Jasmine's rice?
Jasmine Price.
Jasmine Price?
Yeah.
Who is Jasmine? You said Price?
Yeah.
I don't know about Jasmine Rice.
Jasmine Price.
That's an actor? Actress, singer? Hey man, it's been a long day. The sun's got me. Don't start this.
Jasmine Price?
Who is that? My brain is fried right now. I've been in the sun all day. I'm tired. Hungry. Don't repeat yourself if you're not gonna explain yourself. Who is Jasmine?
Jasmine Price?
Y'all be doing these I don't want to say immature, whatever. You're having fun on TikTok, whatever.
I think the only type of straight man that comes close to understanding what a woman feels is a very beautiful, attractive, undeniably gorgeous man. And I don't mean someone who's subjectively gorgeous, like someone who's just gorgeous to you because they're a certain type. I feel like most straight men fall under that category. Like, they're a very niche type of hotness, but it doesn't mean that most people would look at them and be like, yeah, they're really good looking. But I mean the people that are like undeniably good looking, right? And these men are basically treated as if they were women by the world, meaning they're never the chaser, they only attract. A lot of these men will have never approached a woman in their life because they don't know that they're supposed to, because they're always the ones getting approached. They might be harassed a lot by all genders, and they're also heavily sexualized by the public, and they're always being used for their looks and their attractiveness. So I truly think that these kinds of straight men are the only ones that can even come close to understanding the experience of being a woman. I think the only type of straight...
Wait, what? I thought she was gonna go somewhere else, like add something else to it. But I think that that's an accurate statement. I think like men that are lusted, I'm trying to think of like men that would be in that category. Like obviously someone like Michael B. Jordan. I just went to go watch Sinners would be like an example of that. Who else? What's this new guy? This new guy that all the girls love. They almost damn near replaced Michael B. Jordan with this guy. He's dark skinned. Well, he's dark skinned, kind of brown skin, and he's got blue eyes. Oh my gosh. And he has that meme. It's Mufasa. Aaron Pierre. Yeah. That guy. He's like the new, am I tripping? He's like the new one where everyone is like, they like can't hold themselves whenever he's around. Like, I don't know. It's like everyone just decided he's the next one. It was Michael B. Jordan before. It's Aaron Pierre now. Like, someone said he's not dark skin. Is that not? I mean, I brown skin, I guess. Okay, right? Replaced by MBJ. Have you not? I just seen Sinners yesterday, so no, he's definitely still up there. But I just mean like in terms of like being fresh and new. It's like, Aaron Pierre is like the new guy. I see all the girls like, oh my gosh, I need Aaron Pierre. Like almost like a consensus that he's probably in the next few years he'll probably be on the most like sexiest man alive list for sure. He'll probably be, if not in the running, he'll probably be it very soon, right? Someone said Justin Bieber. Yeah, I think Justin Bieber when he was younger was definitely in that category, because even if you look at clips of Justin Bieber when he was younger, the way people would talk up to him, guys and girls, very, very weird, very strange.
Wait, yeah, I'm going fucking insane. I forgot. I totally forgot. He was like, yeah, like I just like mentioned you to my coworkers like the other day, blah 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 blah, whatever. I don't remember the details of it. He's got to be dead. His plane crashed.
Hey guys, it's Maddie. So actually, the man died.
I told him like that. I told my coworkers because like obviously like our love story happened in our place of employment, my place of employment, and he was always asking like. He was like, next time I see Mitch, I need to give him like the biggest handshake ever, like blah blah blah.
How the fuck would you raw dog someone like that?
I cannot believe I looked up like plane crashes. Like fully, okay, maybe his phone fell in the toilet.
See, but this is the problem, because the part that worries me about conversations like this, you know, that you might have with your girls, is a lot of times this conversation ends with, should I text him? Yeah, I should text him. And I want to shake you. Okay, don't text him, because you have this conversation, but the problem with this conversation is it hypes you up to reach out, and I don't want you to do that.
Maybe on his laptop. Can you DM on Instagram on a laptop? Oh my god! I got him a postcard from Boston that's never gonna be mailed. Never.
If it's on his work laptop, if that were to happen, like Instagram's blocked on my work laptop. You know what I mean? So
That's true.
From what I've since meeting him and what you've told me about him and what he's shown, something's up. He also doesn't seem like the guy that just fizzles out like that. No, like something happened.
I just don't understand.
You know, you have to communicate.
Why hasn't he sent a messenger pigeon at this point? Like, I'm just like, I truly think that he's gonna text me on Friday, being like a million messages and being like, Maddie, I'm so sorry. Like, I understand if you hate me, like blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to give him an earful because I'm having like the worst fucking week of my life. I want to text his friend so bad.
I've helped so many. I can feel it's become a sixth sense. I've been doing this for a while now. So when I help women, I can like put I'm in their mind. I'm in your mind. You know that, right? When I help you, I help so many. I'm in your mind. I can feel your feelings. I can feel them. So when I watch these videos and I read these messages and we do our Discord, I can feel it in your veins. I can feel it coursing through your veins. I can feel it bubbling. I'm you. You understand that, right? I'm you. I can actually feel what's inside of you. I just felt it. I know how this. I feel where the conversation's going. I could just feel it. I could just feel it from the beginning, and I could see the look in her eyes when we were like here.
Messenger pigeon.
There's like, it's this look right here. I could see it in her eyeball. This is I'm contemplating messaging him right now. I know where she's at mentally. She's not actually hearing the words that her friend is saying. She's actually using her friend's words as background music while she contemplates, should I text him, should I not? Okay. Her friend's not actually there for any sort of moral support. Her friend, quite at this moment, is background music for her mind to work through the equation of should I text him, should I not? Her friend's just yapping. She doesn't give a damn what her friend's saying. So this is the problem, right? You bring your friend becomes background music, and you're sitting there contemplating, should I message him, should I not? And then by the end of the conversation, what do you end up saying? I should probably just message him. I felt it. I knew it. I haven't watched this video. I hope you guys know, like, this is not a joke. I have not watched this video. When you guys send it to me, I just save it and then we react to it together. I felt it. I felt it happening. Don't do this, okay? So if you know you get like this, you have this look in your eye, when you start talking about that guy and then you end that conversation with I should text him, don't even bother bringing the guy up. Don't even bother starting to have, because once you start to have the conversation, it starts to make you feel more and more comfortable with doing the reaching out or doing the crashing out. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? Please don't. Remember my voice. Once you get this look in your eyes, you're cooked. Cooked.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, mi amor. How you doing, my love?
I cut up some grass that I found on the side of the house.
Wow, babe.
I know. Look at me. Cutting grass and laying tile, plank, floor thingies.
Shit.
Babe, did you sell me money?
Yes.
When? You didn't tell me.
Yes. Yesterday. Did I need to tell you? Well, I did that. I mean, you had to get groceries. You were buying a few, things for the house and stuff you needed or whatever, You said you had to do stuff. You said you had to do stuff. You're good now, right?
I'm going to send you the link to the restaurant that I want to go to for Mother's Day.
If that's what you want, we need to finalize that. Okay, mi amor. Love you, baby.
W lifestyle. I hope, for her sake that he's not married. I want that for her, for him to be a single 59-year-old rich boyfriend. And I hope all the rest of you can find a rich boyfriend, because I know for some of you, 59 years old is too old. Okay? Which is fine. But I hope all of you find yourself a rich boyfriend that could take care of you like that. Send Zelle you money, Cash App you money, PayPal you money, whatever you money.
And remember, men will put a paper bag over your head and still be aroused. So does their validation even matter if they'll get with a turkey or their cellmate if they're locked up? Does their validation even matter? Does their validation even matter? No, it doesn't. Because it has no value unless it's attached to some money. Validate me with some money. Then we can talk. A compliment, I give myself compliments every day. Okay, AI will give me a compliment. Siri will give me a compliment. Okay.
It is not enough to speak, but to speak true. So I shall say, thou art a boss.
See? Say that again, Siri.
Well, it is not enough to speak, but to speak true. So I shall say, thou art a boss.
They said thou art a boss. Speaking in old English. Okay, put some respect on my name.
It's kind of funny. What she's essentially trying to say is don't have men's validation be like at the center of your universe, right? Like, which I agree with. I think that you need to validate you, because if you're too focused on other men specifically validating you, you ain't gonna be in the right mental space, and your emotions are gonna be up and down like this. You know what I mean? So I agree with that statement. I agree with the theme and the rhetoric of that statement, that validation isn't something that you should put all of your care and investment into receiving from men. You got to figure out ways to validate yourself. The men will smash anything. I think that men are interested in aroused by many different things. So I will say that that's the funny thing too, whether you're big, small, petite, plus size, whatever your look is, redhead, you're brunette, you're dark skin, you're light skin, trust me, men are into many different things. I don't think you ever have to be worried about whether or not men can find different types of women attractive, because I really truthfully believe there are all types of men who are attracted to all types of women. Now, obviously, you do need to be attractive. You understand what I mean? But like, trust me, there are men that are attracted to a lot of different things.
Y'all, so I'm going through a breakup in my 30s, and it just hits different. It just rocks you differently, because you long for marriage, you long for children. So I'm talking to my therapist this morning, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I can't get over this. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Y'all, tell me why I just left my hair appointment, and all of a sudden, I don't give a fuck. All of a sudden, nothing matters. Go get your hair done. Because you may find out you're being dramatic and you just need a new weave. Go get your hair done. Because all of a sudden, I don't give a fuck. Y'all.
I like this video because I get this video. I had this happen to me before where I was like feeling really sad about a situation. And it's kind of weird. I was feeling sad about the situation and what had transpired. And I was in bed when I was feeling sad about the situation, because I had like kind of just recently woke up, and I was kind of in bed for a bit after I woke up. And then literally I was getting ready. I was showering because I had to go somewhere in the morning. And I got up, and it was like a nice day outside, like really sunny. And when I got up and I went to go to where I was going, and I was on the way to going where I was going, I was literally like, I don't care. And it wasn't like a fake, I don't care. I just realized, like, as sad as I was feeling literally like 2 hours ago, I don't feel sad anymore. Like, I got outside and the sun was hitting me. It was a nice day. And like, I just stopped. Like the sadness literally left me. I could feel it leave me. And I was like, literally the same thoughts I was just having that were making me sad 2 hours ago, they're not making me sad anymore. Like, I'm literally fine. So it's funny because I actually get this. Sometimes literally the only thing you need to do is just get up and go out. And it doesn't have to be go outside, shake your ass. No, it could just literally be like, just literally like get out of your bed. Don't be staring at the same four walls, right? Don't be in the same apartment. Go get some sunlight. You know, we're biologically, we evolved to be able to like respond to sunlight. That actually does something for us. Just get outside of your house, go in the car, take a drive, like see the outside world, smell the air, and you'll be like, oh, it's not that serious. Not that you don't have feelings or emotions, but sometimes like they're more intense when you're just sitting there and you're just like, there's just nothing happening. And it's like, you're just seeing the walls. You know what I mean? And it feels really intense. And it's not that. And trust me, like I've been there. So I know. Okay. All right, chat. Let's hop into our next segment of the day. Someone said no sunlight in UK. You might have to take a trip, because that's very, very tragic. Okay. All right, chat. Let's hop into our next segment of the day. For those of you who know what's coming up, I want you to spam it up in the chat. For those of you who are new here, you're in for a treat. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. Should I say it loud or quiet, chat? Discord time. Yeah. Okay, chat, let's hop into our Discord section of the show. I did it quiet that time. So you never know which one it's going to be, okay? Ours is different every day. All right, let's hop into our Discord section of the show. For those of you who don't know how this works or what that was, I'll explain this to you in really, really simple terms, okay? Discord time is where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are 3 different ways in which you can submit your question to me, and I will answer it, okay? I'm going to tell you all 3 ways right now. Let me make sure we're in the right place here. Okay. First way, by submitting your question to our free relationship advice forum here, which you can access by going to the link in my bio on TikTok, clicking where it says Players Club Discord. You hop into the Discord, you ask your question there, and I will answer it on a first come, first serve basis. Now, you see here all these highlighted questions here in our free section. These are questions I haven't yet gone to, because there's a lot of questions and I'm only one human being. So that means if you ask your question today, it will take me a couple of weeks to get to your question, simply because there's obviously a lot and I can't do all of them in one day. So if you have a question that you want me to answer and you want it to get answered ASAP because you're very impatient, you have another option in terms of submitting your question. You can submit your question to our premium relationship advice forum. Now, the way that this works is this is like a skip the line pass for the people who don't want to be waiting all that time to get their question answered in the free section. The way that this forum works is that you go into the link in my bio, you click where it says premium Discord relationship advice. Then when you click that, you'll be prompted to donate to the show. And then in your donation, you'll send in the title of your username and of your Discord username and the title of your question or what it's going to be. And then I'll be able to get a notification on my phone. I'll see that that's you. I'll see that that's your question. And then I'll be able to verify that your question is supposed to be in here and you didn't just drop in your question without actually donating to the show and doing the proper steps, because obviously you're getting to skip the line. Now, for those of you who want to submit a question to me, but you don't want it to be read out on the show, we have another section, which is our private relationship advice forum, which the way that this works is you can submit a question to me. It's not a forum, it's a link. But you can submit your question to me via the link by going into the link in my bio on TikTok or in the description on YouTube. Click where it says private relationship advice. And then you submit your question to me via text, as many paragraphs and details as you want. When you send it in to me, I then respond with the voice message, and then I send it back to your email that you're going to submit your question with, okay? And a very simple process for you. Once I read it out, no one else will see your question, and then you'll get like a detailed 8 to 10 minute response, sometimes 15, sometimes 20. I've even done a 30-minute one before. It depends on how many details you send, but you can always access me that way as well, okay? Let's hop into our first premium question. You have a few to do here. Our first one comes from Miss Lee. I'm 23. He's 23. Okay. Hi, Tomisin. I was wondering if you can answer this really important question for me on your show here. I really need some guidance right now, and I'm at a really rocky place in my life right now, and I guess providing lots of details is the best way to go about getting the best answer to my question. Recently, maybe about 3 months, I recently was cut off completely from the man who I thought was the love of my life and am still in love with currently. I know I still have feelings for him. He has blocked me on everything. I honestly wish I had discovered your channel sooner, because we broke up after the fact and I had discovered you. So I know for a fact I broke quite a few rules, quite a few of the no rules, like the rules that I say not to do. I wish I had discovered you sooner, because I maybe could have kept him in my life rather than pushing him away. I said some things he can't forget about and I can't take back, and I'll forever live with the regret of losing him to those words. At first, he promised that we would get married and he would get me a promise ring. He was such a gentle man, so sweet taking me out on dates and paying for my meals. And we also went to a really amazing amusement park where we created memories together. But slowly over time, I lost him, and I'll forever live with that regret. We ended with him claiming that we were never together, and the flowers and the dates he took me on meant nothing. Why would he claim that? His cutoff game was too strong, and it sent a knife through my heart. It's been 3 months later, and I know for a fact he's already happily in a new relationship with someone. Okay. I'm still in love with him and heartbroken over him. I know he doesn't miss me, but it still feels like we have so much unfinished business and unspoken words between us. In his absence, we're getting close to the question, his friends start to call me baby. What? Or indirectly flirt with me out of nowhere. I can feel them energetically chasing me. We all worked together before he quit to focus on his company. I'm not sure how I feel about his friends wanting to get with me. They have openly tried to claim me, talking about you mine in front of everyone. And there's 2 boys specifically. They're both associated with my ex while we were together. One, he used to give me rides home after work. The other, he talked to every day at work. You're talking about your ex-boyfriend used to talk to every day at work. His friends weren't my friends, but he'd always go chat with them. Before me, often I was alone, not chatting with anyone. Every day, his excuse was he doesn't actually have friends and he doesn't have their number outside of work, so I had no idea if they actually know each other or not. But they didn't start to flirt with me until he went no contact and quit the job we all work at so he didn't hear them talking about me. I know relationships in the workplace is messy, so I haven't been getting close to them. I've actually snapped at both of them on separate occasions, but one of his friends that flirted with me is attractive, but the other isn't. I think if the attractive one keeps throwing hints at me, like he really likes me, then I might be willing to give him a chance. Although I'm just thinking about this right now. I haven't made any moves yet. It's been 3 months since we broke up, and I'm still heartbroken over him and unable to move on. So you have your answer, that you shouldn't be moving on if you're not ready to move on. Tomisin, me and my ex used to have very good and nasty pineapples. Toxic, I know. There's nothing wrong with having very good pineapples. There's nothing wrong with that. And we was together for 5 months before he broke it off. It's not my longest relationship ever, but those 5 months with him changed me. I thought when I met my ex, I'd be done dating for sure. He was perfect to me, but now I can't. What? But now I can't. As good looking as his friend is, I'm too scared to deal with anyone else. And I feel like his friend will set me up and dump me after he's had fun with me. So I've been staying away. I even went on vacation for a week after they publicly tried to flirt with me as a team. Honestly, I'm trying to stay strong because I can feel myself waking up to how attractive his friend he used to talk to every day is. I never spoke to him directly. I'm avoiding both of them, but I can't help but to think about it. My ex cheated on me while we were together. Okay, you just kind of snuck that in there at the middle of your message. While we were together, that much is obvious to me, but I still can't help but have flashbacks of all the times we made love, and I can't bear to do that with anyone else. My coochie only want his D. What type of message is this? I just want my ex back, even though I know that's impossible. I see him posting his new girl, and they're twinning. Okay, you're spiraling here. I know I shouldn't have been lurking, but I have a way. I shouldn't be seeing his profile, but I can. So like you've went through like a, okay, all right. You're spiraling. Funny thing is, his friend shows up on top in the next few days ago at my job, wearing the same exact color as the pants my ex bought me for Christmas. I actually wore a couple days before he decided to wear the top. What? What? Okay, that sentence was really confusing. There's lots of other guys at my job besides him, but for some reason I can't help but sneak glances at him. I don't know what to think about this, but it's not just any random color. It's a unique shade of green, and it must have been hard to find a matching top to my pants. What? Are you taking the fact that he's wearing a similar shade of green as you, like one of your coworkers, as a sign that you and him are meant to like have a thing? You know, we all go through breakups, right? And I'm not blaming you for feeling the feelings that you have after a breakup, but this is why it's so like you have to pace yourself, and you have to be patient with yourself and allow yourself to just work through your feelings and emotions, because like the things that are going through your mind right now are very irrational, which is you're not a bad person, but like the irrational feelings you're having right now is because you feel very lost to have your mind so focused on being with someone for, a long period of time, and to be so convinced that's the person you're going to be with. And then the kind of like the pain and the frozenness of feeling like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Like, what is my life now? It's okay. You need to like work through that process of like re-understanding what your life is now, not being with that person, and what your future will look like not being with that person. That takes time though. I think right now your mind is so scrambled that it's trying to grasp onto anything to feel the same feeling that you were once feeling with your old guy. Because like this guy at your work wearing the same shade of green doesn't mean anything. But you want it to be a sign because you're looking for something to grasp. Your mind and your soul and your spirit is looking for something to grasp onto. I'm not saying this to say you're a bad person for feeling this or thinking this. I just want you to recognize that, to say, oh, it's not because the same shade of green means he likes me or he wants me. It's just because like I'm in that place where I want to love someone. So I need something to like fit that narrative, if that makes any sense. Just a natural, way of kind of going through things. I honestly don't know what to think. Did my ex buy it, or did his friend? I have so many questions. I'm scared to talk to his friend and ask him for the. Don't you just any when you're in this state, anything that he says is gonna feed your narrative in your mind. So even if he says he did it, you're gonna say, oh well, maybe the way he said he did it felt like a lie. So I feel like that was all a lie and it's all a sham and this is all a setup because he. Don't bother. Okay. You have to just let the feeling pass. It's not the same brand, but I still don't want him to think I like him or let him know I think he's attractive. I'm not ready to like someone yet, but I don't want to be simping over my ex. You're not simping. You're just having feelings for someone who you just broke up with. That's not a crime, right? Like, it's okay to have feelings. The more you try to fight them and feel like you shouldn't have them, the worse and more intense they'll become. I have so many questions unanswered. Please give me advice, Tomisin. I don't know what to do. I feel wrong just thinking about dating the friend or the friend favorite acquaintance of the person I still have feelings for. Despite his attractiveness and his hints, he keeps publicly announcing to everyone. I can actually see us being cute together. This is okay. This scares me because I know I don't love him, but his friend. What? Oh yeah, I don't love him, but his friend, my ex, everyone, you love your ex. That's what you're basically saying. Everyone telling me to move on, Tomisin, but it's hard. Do you have any advice? My advice is to just give yourself grace and time, okay? Like, you don't need to be moving at everyone else's pace. And just because a guy is showing you attention or saying that he likes you, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be ready to date. Like, you have to be okay being selfish with your time and your energy. If you're not in the mental capacity, you're not in the mental state to date, which you know you're not, then you don't need to be dating. He can flirt with you until he's blue in the face. Does that mean you're going to go out on a date with him? No. Okay. Does that mean you should accept a date with him? No. Does that mean you should give him your number? No. Why? Because you said yourself you're not ready to be dating. So you don't need him to tell you about anything. You don't need him to take you anywhere. You don't need him to spend no time with you. Because the reality of it is, even in the hypothetical scenario in which you do start dating this guy at your work now, it's not going to help you get over your ex. It's really not. You might think it is because you're able to focus on this guy instead of focusing on him. But all you're going to do is transfer the feelings that you once had for your ex onto this guy. One, it's going to be a mistake because you're going to feel so much more intensely about this new guy than you should be, because they're not really actually feelings for this new guy. They're feelings for your old ex that you've copied and pasted for this new guy because you wanted someone to feel something for. Okay. It's also going to make you come across as a lot more intense and a lot more anxious because he's going to feel like you like him so much more than you're supposed to for the amount of time and investment you guys have had in each other. What I mean by that is you're taking feelings you had for a guy that you dated and were with for 5-6 months, and you're pasting them onto a coworker that you haven't even gone on a single date with. Then when you start dating him, even after that first date, you'll have 5 months worth of feelings for him, and you've only had one actual date with him. That imbalance is going to make you come across very weird and strange. And it'll be hard for you to control that because what you're feeling is what you feel is authentic to you, but you don't realize they're not feelings for the person you're projecting them on. They're feelings for a different person that you've just taken and put on this guy. So all of that confusion will just make it harder for you to successfully date and have a successful relationship, which will be even more messed up because by the time you scramble everything with this guy that you actually work with, now your whole work experience is going to be very awkward and weird. So my advice to you, just do nothing. Like, I don't care how much he flirts. Keep yourself at bay. Just keep your energy for yourself right now. Even when you go to work, you build your routine around yourself and your life, your needs outside of boys, outside of dating this guy, flirting with that guy. You don't need to be doing no flirting right now. You're not in an emotional place to flirt or receive anyone. Just keep investing in you. Even if that guy comes up to you and he flirts every single day for the next year, you keep it. Hey, we working together. If you want to flirt, you can flirt, but this ain't going nowhere further than work. Keep it that way. And allow yourself until you actually feel like, hey, I haven't thought about my ex for the last couple of days and I honestly forgot about it and it's not that intense to me anymore. That's the only time you start exploring new relationships. Other than that, no need to explore no new relationships. For sure, no. Okay? All right, let's hop into our next question here. This one comes from, so I guess this one was a two-parter. This one comes from Just a Little Bit. Sounds like a song. Mom-daughter issues. Hi, Tomisin. This message isn't that long. I'm just sparing my paragraphs for an easier read. I'm 21 currently. My mother has been giving me a hard time lately. I'll try and use as little characters as possible for the sake of time. My mom and my sister, 5 years apart, like you and your sister are 5 years apart, by a very emotional, unstable guy with harsh beliefs. What? All right. They have fist fought each other a few times. He has spat in her face once when I was a toddler. How would you know if you were a toddler? He recklessly insults and bullies the women in his life, like my mom, my grandma, me, my sister, and any woman he dates that happens to inconvenience him. As I grew up, I adjusted to this routine. He has always been uncomfortable with my personality, clothing, career, and hairstyles choices. So you're talking about a stepdad, okay? Leaving no room for me to be myself. My wardrobe is the average 21-year-old feminine girl. He told me he hated me because I cut my hair during Bovid, claiming I never represent him correctly and he doesn't know who I am. I was 16 at the time, so as expected, I forgot him and swept it, think you might say under the rug. I recently cut ties with him 2 years ago as the treatment had only continued. What? Treatment? Okay. Treatment had only continued. The last straw was him hanging up on me when I told him I couldn't reimburse him for buying my first car as fast as he wanted. I obviously reached adulthood and wanted better things for myself and had to eliminate people and things from my life that didn't contribute to that progress. The issue I currently have is with my mother now. For the past 2 years, she's been trying to force me to suck it up and communicate with him, dismissing my self-respect and the treatment I expect. She doesn't agree with me deciding not to deal with my father. Oh, no, so he's your actual father. You were describing him like he was a stepfather. Sorry, that confused me a little bit. Simply because he is my father, and he tells me that he's sorry. No one's perfect, and he'll do better. That's it. Me and my sister don't have an eventful relationship. It's typically high and by. Just because as a kid, she would do what little kids do, cause chaos, steal from me, eat my food, etc. And that is just not something I wanted to deal with. I'm an introvert. I'm sure you know how introverts operate. I have an idea. However, we haven't argued since 2012 or something. I've stated multiple times that I don't have an issue with her, my dad, or anyone, and that all of my relationships don't have to be daisies and flowers. I also have the right to remove myself from people or areas I am not welcome. Let me read the part 2 of your message here. Then you go on to say, my mom asked me to pick her up earlier this week. I told her I couldn't because I had to work midnights. Mind you, I picked her up multiple times before. I went back to my schedule and I realized I looked at the wrong day. I tried from the previous 12-hour shift I work, so I went back to sleep. I was tired. I read that wrong. From the previous 12-hour shift. I woke up. She was at my door, like you guys live in the same house, or at your door, as I'm assuming you mean in the same house. She was upset at the fact I didn't go back and tell her I was available once I saw I wasn't scheduled for work. We went back and forth. She called me sick and walked away telling me this is why I don't have any relationships. It's true, the people who are in my life, who who were in my life are no longer in my life. Yes, that's because I grew out of them or they abandoned me for their own benefit. She didn't talk for a couple of hours after, but texted me, I love you so much, as if nothing happened. Family can be that way sometimes. I told her that wasn't an apology. She went on to specify what she was sorry for, but still stands by everything else. Fast forward yesterday, I wake up again before I can even take my morning poop. She's upset I didn't say hi to her first. She went on a spill. Why are you so negative? You're so traumatized, etc. I simply stated that I disagreed, and all she had to do was say hi. Okay, this part I'll just pause and say, okay, everyone is raised differently, so I'm not going to speak to what your culture is because I don't know it, and how you're raised. I know, so I'm Nigerian, right? In Nigerian culture, and I know there's a lot of other cultures where when you wake up, when you go downstairs and you see your parent, you greet them, right? Because it's just a sign of respect, right? You don't walk into the room and don't acknowledge them as if, like you're entitled to just exist there. And it's just a respect thing, right? Like when you walk into a room and a parent is there and you're seeing them for the first time in the morning or whatever the case may be, you greet, you say good morning, whatever. It's just like a sign of respect. And then you do the same thing when you go out and you're walking into a room full of adults like your parents and their friends, right? You acknowledge, you greet everyone in the room. You don't act as if you don't see them. Okay? It's a respect thing. Everyone's culture is a little bit different. Some cultures, they kind of teach you that, they ingratiate that in you. I don't know what your culture is. I don't know if that's norm in your culture or if that's abnormal. I also don't know if that's become a normal thing in your household. If that's a normal thing in your household, then she's not saying anything you've not heard before. But if that is a normal thing in your, if that isn't a normal thing in your household, then obviously she's kind of pulling something out of left field, right? So that kind of depends on the culture and how you were already raised. She wanted to go back and forth. I didn't. I was exhausted, but I started to prepare for these encounters more. Tried to stop it before it escalated, stating that she obviously doesn't agree with what I'm saying, so the conversation can end at this acknowledgement. She chose to go on interrupting my sentences. I kept asking her to let me talk. She wouldn't. My patience ran thinner and thinner, and I began clapping out of overstimulation. She started yelling, "Don't ever disrespect me, blah, blah." Okay, so here's the question here. Okay. I have a question for you, and this is not to point fingers at anyone, but are you aware of why your mom is feeling like you disrespected her? Because let's just be, we have to keep it all the way 100 here. You're living in her house. You might not like her rules, but you're 21 years old. If you hate the rules that much, okay, I'm just being super real with you. You're old enough to figure out a way to move out. If the rules is that painful for you, you don't like this stuff, like you really hate this, you're old enough to move out. It's not like you're a young kid anymore. So my question becomes, if you're going to be there, you're going to have to figure out a way to make this like tenable, like palatable for everyone. So my question is, why does your mom feel disrespected? Like you're in her house, like you are living in her house. So it would be advantageous for you to at least understand why she feels disrespected, so maybe you guys can avoid this same scenario of her yelling and screaming. I know it feels unfair. I know you feel like, well, what about my needs? What about what I care about? Honestly, I'll be honest with you, life is unfair. And sometimes with parents, you're not always going to get your way because they're your parents, right? And even though in a perfect world, your parents would apologize and take accountability, that's not what they're always going to do. And I know I'm saying it, and when I'm saying it, you're like, Tomisin, but that's so unfair. Trust me. I've been through it as well, okay? I'm a human being as well. There's times, even when I have been in situations where I feel like something my parents have done or said is hypocritical or unfair. As a child, sometimes you just have to respect it, shut the hell up, and realize I'm living in your place. This is your space. You're paying rent here. I'm living here for free. I'm eating for free. I might have a different way about going about things. If I want to have everything my way, I go, I move out, I live in my own place, I get everything my way. Okay? And I know it's painful to, feel like you're not being heard or not being seen. But the reality of it is, sometimes you have to accept you're not going to have everything your way all the time, especially when you're living in someone else's house, even your parents. I know it's not the answer you want to hear, but that's the reality. And I've had to go through that myself as well, okay? And have that honest conversation with myself, just the reality of life, okay? This is very similar to what got my dad cut off. I'm not sure how else to get her to understand my perspective. I've seen a guy I dealt with encountering issues like this with his mom, sometimes to a worse degree. It truly saddened me to realize the root of these cycles, mom and dad issues, which is why I want to better myself and why I'm so confused why she and everyone else is offended by that. He moved out at 20, but only because he was a server and slept with anything existing. So of course, that was his prime season. I'm not able to move just yet. So for now, my question is there anything about me in this message that stood out to you that you think I should work on for her or myself? How can I strengthen my verbal, physical boundaries so that they aren't forced, whether she agrees with them or not? Thanks, sir. I take full accountability for my wrongdoing. We live with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend greets me every day. He doesn't complain about me not saying hi. So then my question becomes, is her and her boyfriend of the same culture? Because if they're not, you can apply what her boyfriend does with what she does. The other thing to note is that's her boyfriend. So to a certain extent, right, even though you guys live with her boyfriend, right, you're there, I'm sure he probably feels like, I want to be nice to her. I don't want her to hate me. I want her to like me. So there's probably an element to that of why he greets you as well. So keep that in mind. Your mom, it's a little bit different, right? She doesn't have a need to be accepted or validated by you. So she might not approach things the same way as him. Just be understanding of that. My sister isn't bothered by us not speaking that often either. She doesn't even like being around me. She prioritizes her relationship over ours anyways. Why is saying hi such a bother? This is a culture thing. The other thing that you have to recognize and, just accept is that if you live even though you're living with her boyfriend, you're living in technically your mom's place because it's her and her boyfriend's place or whatever the case may be. It's not your house. We'll just say it like that. Since it's not your house, you're not always going to get your way. That's just the reality of life. I don't know how to make it any more simpler or palatable. If you don't live in your own house, in your own place, you're not always going to have your way. Okay? As soon as you start paying rent somewhere, paying your third, paying your half, now you get a say in how things are going to be done. And I know it sounds super unfair, super, why do I have to do this like this just because someone else wants it that way? You want to have it your way? You move out, you go find your own place, you live on your own. Trust me, you'll be able to have it you can leave the dishes in the sink if you want. You can not do your bed if you want. You can walk around the house naked if you want. You get to do whatever the hell you want to do. But until then, there will be some things that you're going to have to deal with that are a little bit unfair. If your mom likes that you should greet her every time you see her, you walk into a room, you're not going to be able to tell her no, because at the end of the day, you're living in her house. So if you don't like that idea, you might have to, expedite the process of you moving out. Now, as it comes to dealing with things, here's the thing. The best way that I can advise you, and this is not from pulling stuff out of my ass, this is from my own growing up. The best thing you can do for yourself in this situation is to stop trying to expect something different from your mother or father or her boyfriend. You have spent your entire adult life, 21 years, learning and understanding your mother and, your father, your biological father, okay? At this point, I'm sure like the back of your hand, the way that your mom will respond to certain things, the way that she'll say certain things, talk about certain things, what will trigger her, what will not trigger her, what will make her happy, what she wants to hear, and what doesn't work for her. I'm sure deep down in the recesses of your mind and your heart, you know the answers to all of those questions. So the reason I say that is you're at a point now, you're an adult. You cannot be still thinking, I wish my mom was like this. I wish she acted like this. I wish she would respond to me like this. I wish she would talk to me like this or talk to me like that. Throw that out the window. Your mom is not going to change overnight. She is your mom how she is. So rather than thinking to yourself, I'm so frustrated because I want my mom to be this or be that or not be this or not be that, just accept my mom is this way she will respond in these ways. How do I work with her already existing nature and character to have as little problems as necessary? So if I know not greeting her when I go down the stairs or I wake up in the morning is going to cause an argument, rather than trying to convince her that she's wrong or she should greet me or she shouldn't yell, I will just go downstairs and greet her so that I don't have any problems. Okay? Even though she's not listening to your perspective, even though you don't get to have it your way, even though your voice is not heard, at the end of the day, you won't get yelled at, you won't have problems, and then these next 1 or 2 years in which you're continuing to live there will at least be palatable for you to be there without getting yelled at all the time, without the screaming and the shouting. And then you can build up your money, save up your money, and then eventually move yourself out, and then you can have everything your way. So rather than thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything her way, the way that she wants, and I get nothing and no one listens to me, I want you to think, I'm making this situation go as smoothly as I possibly can for myself so that I save up my money, and then I eventually move out without a hitch. So when I go downstairs and I greet her the way that she wants to be greeted, I talk to her the way that she wants to be talked to, I make sure I respect her and don't disrespect her in the way I talk to her or the way I deal with her, right? When I do those things, even though, she's happy, I'm also happy because I don't have to deal with the aftermath of all that other stuff. And then I also get an opportunity to focus on what I need to focus on so that I can eventually get to a place where I'm happy and get everything that I want, which is to be able to say what I want, wake up when I want, do what I want. Okay? Right? So if you have to almost rethink about how you're going about this and re-understand your why, right? Instead of thinking of your why as, oh, I'm doing what my mom said she wants me to do because she told me to do it this way, I want you to rethink of your why as, I'm living under her roof. And so for the time being, I will live by her rules. And as I live by her rules, my life will be easier to go through when I'm living here. And then when I move out, I will get to return to doing exactly what I want to do. Okay? So this time in my life where I have to do everything her way will be for a temporary amount of time. And at a certain point, I'll be able to move out and I'll be happy doing me, and no one will be able to tell me how to do otherwise. That's the best way to look at this situation and approach this situation, because you ain't going to change your mom overnight. And there's no advice I'm going to give you that you're going to sit her down and convince her to change the way that she thinks or what makes her feel disrespected or not. Because you're at her house, and at the end of the day, if you're at her house, she's going to do what she wants to do, and she's going to, feel what she wants to feel. And so there's only so much conversation you can have with parents until you just have to accept this the way they are. If I don't like it, I might as well move out. Okay. Right. I know it's tough to hear it that way, but that's honestly the reality of a situation whenever it deals with parents, because you can't just say, oh, you're no longer my parent. It don't work like that. You don't work like that. Okay. Let's hop into our next question. Okay. Let's, I believe this was done, right? Yep, this was done. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I think I didn't do this one. This one is from LP Baby. Pregunta para Tomisin por favor, gracias. I don't speak Spanish, but I'm assuming that means I need a favor. All right. Hi, Tomisin. Is seeing the best men and people in general bad? And does it make you a target for manipulators and toxic people? Sorry, seeing the best in men, I should say. I have this habit of seeing the best in men in relationships, including male coworkers, even my female lady associates, acquaintances, friends, and it's backfired tremendously. As a result, it makes me not want to open up and be vulnerable in general. So I have this wall built up as a result. Okay, one thing I'll say to you, your coworkers are not your friends. Okay, chat. Any of you who don't know this yet, I'll warn you of this right now. Your coworkers that you see at work are not your friends. Do not divulge very sensitive information to your coworkers. They are not your friends. Don't tell them about the ways that you've been cheating the system at work. Don't let them in on your secrets. They're not your friends. Okay? When push comes to shove, they will throw you under the bus. Have that mentality at work at all times. Do not think anyone you meet at work is truly your friend that you can tell them everything. Just don't make that mistake, okay? Your friends are the people you see and meet and hang out with outside of work, okay? If you're only hanging out with someone at work or at the work events or whatever, keep your work relationship your work relationship. That's my honest advice to you. Trying to make friends out of your work people, I tell you, and as someone who's worked in the corporate world, it'll have you messed up. It'll have you messed up because you'll be wondering, damn, why that person slime me out? Damn, why that person snake me? Why they treat me like this? Why they treat me like that? It's because your coworkers are not your friends. Don't be divulging in them sensitive information. May you please speak on this topic and how to establish better vetting and boundaries. It's not about vetting and boundaries. It's just about understanding your coworkers aren't your friends. Point blank, period. So you only go so far in your relationship with them, right? Don't make it overly personal. If they want to trauma dump on you and share all their life, history with you, let them, but you don't need to be doing that with them. As it relates to men, you just come in from a perspective of, hey, I'm learning you. And until I learn more about you, that's when I'll build my understanding of who you are. But I'm not going to assume that you're always telling me the truth because you could be lying. I'm also not going to assume that you're telling me a lie because you could be telling me the truth. I'll let time reveal that, right? You just allow time to reveal to you who someone is. You just be patient. You don't have to build a narrative about someone from the very beginning. With men, they are after Squirtle and my energy. With ladies, it's typically something motivated by jealousy, envy, insecurity, bruised ego, boredom, and a lack of life purpose. Who knows? As a grown working adult with life hobbies, I'm around a lot of ladies in real life of all shapes, backgrounds, ages, etc. I've noticed that human beings are interesting, and while I'm optimistic, I'm cautious. I realize I'm human too and have my own things I must work on, of course. I know I have a lot of healing for sure. I'm self-aware. You already know per my previous Discord entries, and I'm blessed with self-awareness of my behavior. I would like for you to provide some practical tips on how to navigate human nature because I feel like developing relationships and making friends as a 33-year-old female is a lifetime commitment. It's rewarding and challenging, yet I remain optimistic. May you please dedicate a show on the Tomisin approach to dealing with human behavior and nonsense, generally speaking. Questions to summarize: better protection strategies to avoid being a target for manipulators and toxic people. So I already kind of talked about that. Your coworkers are not your friends. And then with guys that you're dating, you just give yourself time to get to know them. Don't make an assumption about who they are or aren't until you get to experience them for real. How to vet people in general, in both life, online, you're not going to be able to vet people online. You won't be able to. And even in public forums such as online community, you won't be able to do that because people can tell you anything online. It's so easier to lie about something when you're able to hide up behind the screen than it is when you see someone's face in public. If I ask you a question that makes you uncomfortable and you're able to respond via text, I don't get to see the context of your face and body language when you're uncomfortable answering that question. If I ask you that same question in person and I can see that you're very visibly uncomfortable, even if you tell me the exact same thing you would tell me over text, my soul, my spirit, and my intuition will tell me that you're lying to me. Okay, so there's no real way for you to vet people via online until you're able to feel and see their energy in person. That's when your intuition will be able to really speak to you. Other than that, you can't assume you know anyone who you haven't met in real life. Your approach to see the best in people but not get played like a dummy. Excited to know your thoughts. So it's going to sound like a weird way to approach it, but you just approach it from a neutral standpoint. I don't come in with any assumptions about who you are. I don't come in with any built-in narratives about who you are, any stereotypes about who you are or how you act or what you'll be in my life or to me. I just allow my experience with you to be the teacher of who you are and what you're like. Okay, that doesn't mean I won't learn about your history also by you telling me stories of your past and the things that you've done, but I will allow the narrative to build over the course of my experience with you. But I'm not here with any preconceived notions of who you are or who you aren't. Okay. And you let yourself build from there and you give yourself time to build from there. Not just saying, oh, I met you one time and I felt good about the one time that we met, so now I think you're an amazing person, right? It's also not saying, oh, we met one time and there was one thing you said that I hated, so I'm assuming you're a horrible person, right? That time will allow you on a more consistent basis to see who someone is on average. Because you'll have days where you meet someone and they're all the way up, they're the best version of themselves. Then you'll have days where you meet someone where they're all the way down and they're the worst version of themselves. You'll get to know someone over the average of what you see them on a more consistent basis over the course of time, okay? LPB said, correction, I don't talk to my coworkers, but it's more so ladies in real life. what do you mean by that? Like ladies that want to be your casual friend in real life? There's nothing you can do about women who are jealous of you. Like you're not going to be able, people who don't like you are going to not like you regardless of whether you do good or whether you do bad. Like you can't, there's certain times where you're not going to be able to convince people of something they don't want to believe. Right? Like if they don't want to like you for whatever reason their narrative is, then they're not going to like you for whatever reason their narrative is. You can't spend too much time trying to like be like, well, why don't you like me? Why don't you want to be my friend? Or why are you so jealous of me? Or why this way? You just got to be yourself. Like it's too much energy focused on other people. It'll make you go crazy. You can't be like that. Okay, let's hop into our next question. I think I did this one. Clearing the runway online. I think you sent this into how can a man chase you? Okay, I think this is kind of a separate question. Clearing the runway online. Back in the day, women would drop the handkerchief so that a man can take the opportunity to pursue them. In your recent video on how to get a man to chase you, you mentioned we should clear the runway for him, which means just being strategic and positioning yourself in a way, in a place or / way that he can take notice and access you. I know you typically recommend we meet men in person, but let's say there's a guy online we find attractive. Nope. But let's read on Instagram, on Snap, or on Facebook, for instance, and we both follow each other. How can we use these techniques of dropping the handkerchief or clearing the runway? You don't. To get him to know we are also interested. Aren't you dating someone else? Let's say he likes our story. Do we like his? What if he doesn't like the story consistently, but views it? How can we let him know we are interested without coming off too desperate or masculine? If he does a poll, for instance, should we reply or would it make us look like every other girl? No. The most simple thing you can do, you post yourself. You can post yourself looking good, post yourself in an outfit, whatever the case may be. Show them you look good. You just post yourself having fun, doing your thing. You look great. You look awesome. If he's not going to DM you or reply to your story or take some sort of action, don't worry about it. Especially if the guy already follows you. If he's not messaging you himself, don't worry about it. Truthfully and honestly, don't worry about it. Because at that point, if he already follows you, like there's not much more you can, like, what are you supposed to do? Go back and forth liking each other's stuff? Like, bro, either he's going to message you and DM you because he wants to see what's up with you. If not, cool. Like, only so much you can do online. I know it's kind of like disappointing. Only so much you can do online, and almost only so much I want you even doing online. Because this is the thing that I don't like, okay, Princess in 4D, and for any of you who are in this situation. The thing that I don't like is all of this energy and time spent on trying to get a man to see you online. I assure you, once you leave your house, you will realize there are so many more men out there who are just as good looking, just as much of a vibe, and will probably be more intentional with you. Sometimes if you're just in your house for long enough and you're on Instagram or Snap or Facebook for long enough, you really feel like it's only this guy. Like there's no one else that you could possibly meet, that you could vibe with. I trust me, I've been there. And it's just, it's for that moment where you're on it and you're looking at their profile and you're like, oh my gosh, there's no one else that looks like them. There's no one else that I would vibe with like them. There's no one else that would share my humor like them. And you feel like, oh no, it's just them. So I have to meet this person behind this profile. Truthfully, you don't. Truthfully, you don't. Like if you went outside, you would meet a bunch of people you would vibe with, some of which would be really attractive to you, and you would be attracted to them. They'd be attracted to you. Like sometimes when you're on the phone, your world feels very small. You go outside and you realize my world's not that small. Like lots of people I can meet and connect with. So that's why I don't want you focusing too much energy on how to draw someone in who hasn't even bothered to message you and has been following you, right? And is just watching your stuff and liking your stories. It's such a useless, waste of time, right? Let's hop into our next question. Okay. We'll put a pin in these. This one comes from Soul83. So Soul83 says, brotherly and sisterly love. Is it normal for your man to treat his sister the same as he would treat his woman? Wait a second. What are you trying to say here? I'm in a different connection where my boyfriend is extremely involved with his oldest sister and only sister. What do you mean by extremely involved? What do you mean by that? She visits him every weekend each month, and she doesn't mind being the third wheel around us. I really like him, but his relationship with his sister is weird. What are you saying? When you say weird, how weird are we talking? Well, everything we do together, he does with her too. When you say everything, what do you mean by that? You're his girlfriend, right? What do you mean by he does everything he does with his girlfriend, with his sister? Also, I found out that he's only dated 5 women his whole life, and he's in his 40s. His sister has shown that she's head of their deceased parents' household by removing certain items that I left at their house. You didn't go into much more detail there, and I have a lot of questions. If the sister is becoming a problem, I don't think that you're going to be able to. A healthy person would tell you that you should sit down and have a conversation with this guy about him and his sister's relationship. But here's the problem. I don't think you having a conversation with this guy about why you think his relationship with his sister is inappropriate is going to make him actually make a change, right? Because he's 40. So at 40, he's pretty much stuck in stone on however he chooses to go about things. That's how he's going to go about things. So if you think that this relationship with the sister is weird to the point where you're like, I can't do this, my advice to you is to just tell him, look, we had a great time dating, doing a thing, but me and you just ain't going to work out. You know what I mean? And if he asks you why, then I guess you can tell him, look, you know, your sister has become a problem and it's just too strange for me. But I honestly would advise you to just walk away from the relationship. I hate when you guys ask me questions and then my advice is like break up with the guy, because I don't like to be, it's easier said than done. But for situations like this, I ask myself, what are the options? You have a conversation with him and tell him, hey, I don't like your relationship with your sister. It's not going to come across properly because I know what you mean by it, but he's gonna take it as, what, you don't want me to have a relationship with my sister? That's my one and only sister, da da da. And it's gonna make it seem like you're trying to separate them, right? Then when he tells because trust me, him and his sister are best friends. Then when he tells his sister's gonna be even more offended, and then it's gonna be you versus her. So it's one of those situations where you almost can't win. It's like his sister is already his girlfriend. You're coming in and it's like already from day one, it's like you're against the other already existing girlfriend. So in situations like that, the best thing for you to do is accept defeat and realize that the battle you're fighting now, you'll still be fighting in 10 years. Right? You'll still be fighting in 20 years, in 30 years, because the reality of it is no matter how long you've known him, his sister will have always known him for longer. And especially if she's one of these overbearing sisters, oh, you can't tell me nothing, I know my brother better than you do, you'll never be able to have any say in anything, because she'll always say, you don't know him as well as I do, right? I care about him more than you care about him. I love him more than you do. I matter in his life more than you do. You're replaceable. I'm irreplaceable. Like, it's always going to be you versus her, and she's always going to have the trump card because she's the sister from lifetime, and you just got here. So the reason I say that is if he's not going to prioritize you, you're never going to win the battle of trying to fight for him to prioritize you. So You'd be living in a pipe dream trying to think that you'd get a guy who's already doing this to realize why this is wrong, especially at 40. So you're better off just accepting that this probably isn't the relationship for you and moving on to a relationship with a man that will prioritize you. Because I just have to, like I said before, your best thing you can do is you bring it up and be communicative about it. Is it actually going to change? The man is 40. His relationship with his sister is hardened in stone. Is his relationship with his sister going to change overnight because his girlfriend says she feels uncomfortable? Probably not. I'll just be honest with you. Probably not. Okay. So it's probably better for you to just accept defeat and then move on to a different guy. Because I don't think, if you're not liking the dynamic, I don't think the dynamic is going to change anytime soon because that's his family. So you can't get rid of her. Just the reality. You're not going to be able to get rid of her. Let's hop into our other question. Very interesting. Brotherly and sisterly love. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Sold there. Oh, answered in premium. Perfect. The R word. All right. This one comes from Jessica. Okay. I hope Jessica's here. Cuffing season field researcher. All right. Hey, bestie. I sent a private relationship message a few weeks back. You gave me the 2-week rule when you and a guy aren't speaking. I eventually end up hearing from the guy the 14th day we saw each other again. Literally on the 14th day. Okay. Eventually, I find myself worrying about whether or not I should see him again. Things had to end. From the experience and things ending with 2 other guys I was seeing, I have a few questions. With the 2-week rule, I sent an audio message along the lines that if something was there or not, just let me know. I wouldn't want you to send that message, but okay. His response didn't say if there was or wasn't anything there, just that he couldn't see me for some time. I won't go into the specifics. He said that was happening for his privacy. Why don't guys end things with a girl when they know they can't give her what she wants, seeing where things could go? Whether that's because he's not in the place, things progressing has the potential of turning into a relationship, or he isn't that interested in her. Well, here's the thing, because you can get everything you want plus more. From the standpoint of, why tell a girl you can't give her what she wants and then she actually moves on when you can keep her on the hook and then you can come back later? I'm not saying that to make it sound horrible, but just understand in a simplistic form, it's more advantageous to keep someone on the hook where if you came back eventually or you changed your mind, you could still come back, than saying, no, never mind, let's just cut it off and then you can never come back, right? Guys love to leave the door open. Who does it benefit if he leaves the door open? It benefits him, because then he can kind of go in, he can come back, he can go out, he can go in and out without having to be super consistent. That really only benefits him. So just simple form, it's more advantageous to do it that way. Do men not explicitly end things with the girl they're seeing because they don't know how to communicate? Or can it be that if they don't explicitly end things, they still have a crack they can slip through if they ever wanted to circle back? Precisely, because if I don't say anything, then when I come back, I can make an excuse that if you're in the right mood, if I say it in the right way, and if I say it nice and make it a good enough sob story, you'll forgive me. But if I just completely cut it off, or I tell you exactly what it is, then I can't come back and give you a sob story, right? Can you ever be friends with a guy you were just going on dates with and who you did not give squirrel to? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jessica, if you only learn or listen to one thing that I say here in this message, let it be this. Do not try and turn this guy into a casual friend. Don't try it. Don't try it. I will literally tie you to your bed and not allow you to go out anywhere with this guy if you even attempt that. This guy is not your friend, okay? You started off your relationship with him initially trying to have a romantic relationship. That's not a crime, but if it doesn't work out, you don't turn those people into casual friends. He's not your friend, okay? Guys that want to sleep with you are not your friends, okay? So if he started off wanting to sleep with you or build a romantic relationship with you, he is not your friend. You don't then turn him into a friend when the relationship doesn't work out. It does not work like that. You have plenty of other people who you can be friends with. Another guy that I was seeing who things ended with, I think you meant to say, is moving to Florida sometime this summer. He brought up the conversation of being friends. More so being friends before he moves, which is what I think. I didn't say no or yes to him suggesting that. Maybe I deflected. So what you can do, if you don't want to be super mean, it's going to sound horrible, but if you don't want to be super mean, you can just say, sure, we can be friends, and then stop speaking to him. Like, just let it fizzle out. Because if he's moving, right? If he's moving, trust me, things will fizzle out anyways. So you can just say, yeah, cool, we can be friends. You chit chat here and there. Don't put too much effort into it. Just let it fizzle out. Let's be honest with you. Like, you guys aren't friends. Like, and you're not going to keep your friendship over this. Like, just stop it. Like right now, processing the emotions that can come up when things end with a guy. I don't think being friends is the best decision for me. It's not. Not that it's bad, but when you're in emotional pain, sometimes your brain will reach out, or in this case, flirt with the idea of being friends because in a way, it's easier and less pain. 100%. Don't do it. Okay. So being friends when things ended in less than a month is a no. Absolutely. No, not just even in less than a month at all. If a guy, if you try to have a romantic relationship with a guy, he tried to date you, whatever the case may be romantically, you guys are not friends. Once you cross that boundary, there's no going back. You don't get to like bring people into the romantic realm and then take them back into friendship realm. No. If it didn't work out, that's fine. It's whatever. But then you guys move on from each other because it becomes way too confusing. Then you don't know if you guys are hanging out as friends or hanging out romantic. And then one day you guys are hanging out as friends, but now you guys are looking at each other and the moonlight and the stars and his eyes are glistening and your eyes are glistening and your faces are so close together that if you guys just kiss, that maybe you guys can kiss as friends, and maybe you put your tongue down his throat as friends, and then maybe he inserts himself inside of you and jackrabbits himself inside of you as a friend. And now you're really confused. Don't do that to yourself. Okay? Very slippery slope. You'll end up very confused very fast. Then I think about whether girls and guys can be friends. With my experience with the 2-week rule guy, I've accepted that things didn't go the way I wanted and that he isn't looking for a relationship now. I don't want to insert myself in someone's life who doesn't want me in the capacity I wanted romantically. Good. I'm not going to convince him to want a relationship or to be in one with me. Good. With that, is it possible to be friends with the guy who you were just seeing? Absolutely not. When you know you can't or won't push a relationship, absolutely not. You're done with that guy. He's done. He's cooked. It's done. You're not going to speak to him anymore as a casual nothing. These past few weeks have really solidified the concept that you only have yourself while people will come and go. Perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, right? You'll have, see, this is the thing. You're going to have your girlfriends, like the girlfriends and family, or, you know, for some people, family close, some people, family not as close. You're going to have some consistent forces in your life that keep you grounded, especially for you as a woman. You should have your tribe of like other women that get you, that understand you, that they're around no matter what. That will always be the baseline of like your happiness, that you can go places with, you can do things with. You never have to worry about being able to have like a companion in that sense, because you have those girls that keep you grounded. You should have that. Then from there, you know, guys that you meet romantically, they will come and go. Obviously, eventually you'll meet your husband, but guys will come and go. There'll be guys you're casual with, some guys you talk to, some guys it fizzles out with. And, you know, you can't allow that to be like your baseline, right? Or to be like the main source of your happiness. The guys that come and go really have to be like a very side source of your happiness. That, hey, if he wants to be aloof and not be focused, not be consistent, whatever, like it's not going to ruin my life. I'm still going to have happiness regardless, right? That's a very important way to go about things. That maybe not all first, second dates in a month can lead to a relationship. Precisely. It's more about momentum and consistency when a relationship seems likely. I don't want to force someone who didn't want me how I wanted them to want me. Even if I did, the guy would only be with me because I suggested, not because he truly wanted to. Precisely. Those conclusions are easy to accept once the situation is over, but when you're giving time to someone, sometimes a woman's mind can push that to the side, which is why you got to be watching my show every day to remind yourself of the pillars. Any advice on how to balance being a drill sergeant in dating, but accepting that every guy is autonomous? They will take action when they feel like choosing you. The balance between protecting yourself from anything that isn't what you want, but being present in the time with someone when there's potential that it could build or fade away. It's just as simple as reminding yourself like why you're here. You're here to learn and explore the possibility of a relationship with someone. And you'll allow yourself to be convinced of whether or not this person is the person you're looking for by your experiences with that person, right? you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself. That's actually part of the reason why I talked about this earlier, where in some cases you might want to avoid telling your girlfriends about the brand new guy in your life that you just went on 1 or 2 dates with, because you're putting subconscious pressure on yourself and you're making this like a big, like, we have to get this done type of thing in your mind, because you spend so much time and even hours sometimes talking to your girlfriends about the guy you just met or just started dating. And now in your mind, it's way more serious than he's taking it. And who's frustrated? You are, right? So those are some of the things where you kind of have to be like, okay, I need to give myself a moment to breathe. I like the vibe. I like how things are going, but I can't let this be the center of my universe and happiness just yet. I just deleted dating apps. Yay. Any advice on scolding, any advice or scolding you'd give me if I ever think on downloading again? I know some people, I should say, that have re-downloaded the thing more than 2 times. The best scolding I could possibly give you is, for the laziest men on this earth, understand this if you're on dating apps. The laziest men on earth, when they are sitting and laying in their bed in their nut-stained boxers, like hard as a rock because they never wash them, right? Wearing their dirty socks with holes in them, on their bed with no sheets on them and piss stains on their bed. And they wake up in the morning and they open up their cracked iPhone and they open up Hinge, Bumble, or Tinder. Remember this. They don't even have to get a haircut. They don't have to shave. They don't have to brush their teeth. They don't have to get out of bed. They don't have to wash their face, nothing. And they just got access to you. So what do you think that does to their psyche and their perception of you? When the way that they come across you, the way that they access you is on a Saturday afternoon in their nut-stained boxers with their hair a mess and their face unshaved, right? With the pee on their bed. And that's when they're accessing you. That's their first, meeting of you. That's their first way that they come across you. So imagine what that does to his psyche of you, and imagine how he's going to treat you meeting you that way. As opposed to meeting you when he's going out at a nice restaurant that he got all dressed up for, or meeting you at a grocery store, or meeting you at an art class, or meeting you at a museum that he spent imagine how that affects his psyche and his perception of you when he meets you that way versus a different way. So let that be the thing that makes you shiver whenever you think about dating apps. Because remember the circumstances and situation that the guy's in on the other side of the phone when he's actually swiping right on you and messaging you. Okay? You shouldn't feel like you should be a girl that a guy could sit around in his nut-stained boxers and be able to get access to you and message you, right? That shouldn't be the type of girl you want to be, at least in my estimation. I may have had a fleeting thought about getting it again this summer just to go on fun dates. Fun for who? It's not going to be fun for you. It might be fun for them to maybe sleep with you after. It's not going to be fun for you. The laziest guys are on the dating apps, truthfully and honestly. I'll be honest with you. The laziest guys are on dating apps because they don't want to do anything else but message you and meet up with you without doing any sort of real work. Just hear me out here. Summer is approaching. I'm only 21, getting my first apartment in the city. I kind of want to be a menace this summer. What are you saying here? What do you mean you want to be you ain't going to be a menace to, you better be a menace to your damn books. You better be a menace to the damn art museum. You better be a menace to your damn, your journal. You ain't going to, what menace you trying to be? What menace you trying to be? No. You could be 21. See, nothing wrong. See, you're young. If you're living in the city, you go out and explore. 100% go out and explore. You're like, okay, you should separate your understanding of what fun is from men. I'm a man saying that. Separate what you think your understanding of what fun is and can be from men. Meaning, like being 21, living in your first apartment and being in the big city should mean I want to go have fun doing things that I enjoy doing. Not I can only have fun if men are around. Okay? Not I can only have fun if me and my girls go to the club and shake our ass to Sexy Red for Men. Okay? Remove your understanding of enjoyment and fun from something to do with men. Okay? When you do that, then you can start exploring life for what it is, filling your life with lots of happiness and joy. If men are around, cool. If men aren't around, cool, right? Don't let it be that, oh, I can't have fun unless we go out and we do something that's around guys, right? Or we go out to a place where all the guys will be. Once you're in that state, you're not going to be ready to receive the actual guy that you're looking for. You don't be in that state, okay? And when you're talking about being a menace this summer, trust me. You go out, you start being a menace. It's fun for the first 3-4 months. And then after a couple one night stands or after a couple of nights of regret, you start saying, maybe this ain't all it's crept up to be. Trust me. So added, I recently got invited to a charity gala event later this spring. Note, not that I'll have binoculars ready to search for my next man. There's no denying that it's an environment to meet someone naturally in general, 100%. There's beauty when a guy approaches in person rather than dating app, 100%. My mom texted me, no man worth your time is hiding behind a hidden profile that's been swiped left 100 times, 100%. Maybe I'll tell myself that if I reconsider downloading the app. How do you deal with friends who are like, men are all trash or villainize men in order to feel better? I'll be honest with you, remove yourself from those girlfriends because those girlfriends will keep you single. We have this show, and I tell you guys this all the time on the show. We might critique what men do. We might even, strategize against the trash men and all that because there are a lot of trash men. But the reality of it is you're attracted to men. So we're trying to help you get into a relationship with a man. So yes, there are a lot of trash men, but there are also a lot of good men, and you can find those good men. We just have to sift through the trash men. So the women who are going to be in your life and telling you all men are trash aren't helping you get anywhere. Because at the end of the day, you guys sitting around and talking about how trash men are isn't helping any of you find an actual husband. If we can strategize on how to get rid of the trash men as quickly and efficiently as possible and find the men we're actually looking for and figure out the environments in which we can spend time where the men we're actually looking for are, now we're actually getting somewhere. But just us saying men are trash don't help a damn thing because you guys are all still attracted to men. So what does that do? Okay. Yes, there are actions men take that are questionable and uncalled for, but why let one experience with one of them color the future experiences, future love life trajectory? This is why I also say remove yourself from these people because their mindset will literally be a hindrance to you. Their all men are trash mindset when you're hanging out with them will actually repel men because you have to understand that energy is going out into the universe and it's attracting the physical reality of what their thoughts are doing. So even hanging out with them, all of that energy that's surrounding them of their emotional thoughts and their spiritual thoughts is actually like rubbing off on you. Imagine it almost like a force field that kind of extends outside of you. So as you're around them, that force field that's like repelling men are trash, it's like rubbing off on you. Then you're like in this group of women who are all repelling men. As opposed to you being like, hey, I'm open to experiences. I know the man of my dreams is out there. One day I'm going to meet him. But even while I'm waiting to meet him, I'm still enjoying my life, right? That energy is what will make you so energetically attractive to people. You'll be like a magnet, especially the men, right? Because you're not in the belief that, oh, all men are trash. They're disgusting. All the men that approach me are going to be nasty or only like once you have that mindset, you're only going to see trash men. That's you'll see exactly what your narrative is. We talked about that. Do guys like it when a girl doesn't have social media? I always get a, oh, that's good response when I tell a guy I don't have Instagram or social media. Yes and no. Simple guys will think that just because a girl doesn't have social media, it means that she's automatically a good girl. Me, I'm someone who is experienced to know that's not, you can't make that determination based on just that because a girl, I know some women who don't have social media because they like to focus on other things and they don't want that to distract them. I also know girls who don't have social media because their reputation isn't the best and so they take a break they ended social media because they kind of mess some things up. So I know people on both sides. Some guys, they just have the simple mind of, hey, you don't have social media, you must be a good girl. So we'll leave that where it is. Do they prefer that or are they just relieved I can't do any snooping? By snooping, I mean how girls check a guy's following. No, I think they assume that like maybe you're not into the whole trying to be an IG baddie, always looking for attention thing. That's usually how most simple-minded guys assume that, right? For a girl, me, that works in remote sales and is entrepreneurial, can you make a show about dating for ambitious career-driven women? Like, how much should I talk about my career to a guy? I think before you start talking, you should ask a guy questions and see how career-driven he is. Because if you're career-driven and ambitious, but your guy is not, relationship not going to work. If you're career-driven and ambitious, you're probably going to need a man who's even double that of you, so that you can at least feel submissive to him in that sense. Because if you feel more career driven and ambitious than your man, you're going to feel very masculine around him, because you're going to feel like you guys aren't on the same level. Now, if you can be with the man who's even more than that than you, and you feel like even inspires you to a certain extent, then you will feel like you can submit to that type of man. When I say submit, I just mean like you'll feel like you can be in your feminine energy around a guy that's even more masculine than, the ambition and the drive that you already have existing within you. I feel like with dating, there has to be a balance with masculine and feminine energies from the girl. I also don't want a guy to know about my career where he feels behind or doesn't support me. That's why you have to ask the question first about the guy to see where he's at, because a guy who's already in a place where he's happy with his life, or you know what I mean, he knows he's going in the right direction and he's experienced a lot of success in his career already, is not going to hear you and talking about your success and feel jealousy. Now, a guy who hasn't been doing what he needs to be doing, who's been loafing, very lazy, procrastination, not spending time doing what he said he was going to do, him hearing you talk about how career driven you are and your ambition is going to make him feel jealousy and hatred and envy within his heart, because he knows that you will constantly be a reminder of where he is not. As opposed to a man who's been taking care of business, you'll actually be more of an inspiration to him. Okay. All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you who have any questions for me, feel free to ask, whether it be in a free section, our private section, or our premium section. You can ask your question in any of those three ways. For those of you who want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just above my head. On the top left corner of the screen, it's Tomisin_Atub. And then you can follow me also if you're watching the show on Instagram, on YouTube, go down in my description and you'll be able to see my Instagram there as well. For those of you who came late or you missed parts of the show, you can go up and type in my name on YouTube. Just type in TOMISIN. You'll be able to see, if you go into the live stream section of my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll be able to see the YouTube chat and the TikTok chat embedded in the video of the live stream, so you won't miss a second of conversation. And for those of you wondering what days I'm live Monday and Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hopefully on time. And that's when I get on live. So if you want to see me live again, it'll be on Thursday at 4 p.m. EST. I also post pre-recorded videos on my YouTube main channel as well. And I'm working on a very big project that's coming up very soon. Very soon. It's going to be a whole new channel with new relationship content, but it's going to be in a different format. I'll still do this channel as well. But it's going to be very big. That one's going to be very big. So we'll see how that one goes. All right. I'll see you guys Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until we meet again, I bid you adieu, bon voyage. I bid you adieu, arrivederci, adios, sayonara, ciao, salam, bounty, what did I say? Hasta la vista. I think I said all of them, right? Adios. Au revoir. Gluten. No, isn't that good night though? I'll see you again. Oh, bon voyage. And I'll see you again on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? I love you so much. Okay? Oh yes, new channel. It's coming. It's gonna be a big one.